Right.
Okay, welcome everyone to SharpEngine podcast, episode 4. I'm joined by no one else than my lovely co-host. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome back to this amazing show with a beautiful new layout, huh, Sharp?
Yeah,
Isn't it sick?
it is crazy good. I love the new layout. I was so happy when I just making it. I was like, this is gonna look really good. So, or
Yeah,
like
shout
I
out
didn't
to
make
Westers
the
as well.
yeah I didn't make the layout. I just added it in OBS. Westers gets all the credit. He's absolutely
Mhm.
amazing. Anyway,
Westers is like some 16-year-old whiz kid, and he made this thing for us, and he sort of refused to take payment from us for a little bit. So if you ever want to but obviously he does great things like this, and he has very reasonable rates. So if you want to get something like this for him, if you want to do a tournament thing or even for your own stream, then will be good.
yeah,
He makes brand new logos and everything as well. And if he doesn't take payment from you and you don't pay him, then I'm gonna come for you. So he's gonna tell me. So you better pay
same.
money.
He tried sneaking away without taking payment, but we didn't let him.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's actually crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. But amazing new layout. Shout outs to Westers. I guess I'll shout out his Twitter just real quick. Just give me a second here. Yeah, Westers with 3 S's and an underscore on Twitter. So please go ahead
Is it
and
just
follow
one
him.
underscore? Is it just one underscore?
It is just 1 underscore, yeah.
He exercised some constraint on that when it came to the underscore front.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
here we are, and we do have some stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff has happened since our last episode, but I think the biggest one is what I would call our first kind of EU major, or major in the way that we can have a major right now, where it's not it's not ginormous. We didn't have any US talent, and we didn't have too many top players, but it was still 200 plus entrants. HFLAN. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We've had a few UK tournaments as well. We've had notably Smash World Tour qualifier was in the UK. So I guess we can just quickly go over that. It was quite a while ago. But we also have quartered, which was pretty recent
As well. Yeah, it was last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, a pretty small one. It's traditionally just a monthly for South London, but it's weird because once in a while you get people coming from all over. Because to be honest, I don't know if I think it's the case as well all over Europe. I was about to say I don't know if it's the case in Sweden, but it's everywhere in Europe seemingly there are not a lot of tournaments. So whenever anything pops up, people sort of clamber to go to it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially nowadays.
Yeah, that's what it looks like for now. We're not fully back to we've got a tournament every weekend or something like that, which is what it used to be in some summers in the past, even in some traditional down months, down seasons. But yeah, everyone's going to anything they can get to. So Quartered ended up having some decent talent from outside of London as well.
True.
And then there's Short Hop Pear, right, which is upcoming.
Yeah, Short Hop Pear is coming.
We might touch on that
this weekend.
It's this Sunday, yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's
Sunday.
It's actually, I'm pretty hyped to watch it. I'm gonna watch it from my local probably. I'm going to my local on Sunday or Saturday.
Nice,
I mean,
yeah.
Wait, if it's on Saturday, then I will watch it on the local. If it's on Sunday, then
No, it's definitely on Sunday, Sharp. It's definitely on Sunday.
Okay, okay. Never mind.
You can't. What's it called?
So,
you can't double dip on Melee. You can't double dip on Melee.
We usually have a stream
on
a computer or big computer screen at our locals that we can watch.
Yeah, I like having that.
Yeah, unfortunate, but oh well.
Can't win more.
We also, I think, we never really had. Well, the last episode was quite a while ago, but I don't think we ever went over the myth results. Did we? Because we did do myth predictions.
Last episode was Last episode, no, last episode was myth results.
Was it myth results? Okay, never mind.
Yeah, we
Then-
actually spoke so long about myth.
Okay,
You
yeah, that's
remember?
true. Oh,
We
I
spent
remember. I
like
remember.
talking about like a pool or something like that, or like half an hour maybe. It was actually a
Okay.
joke.
Yeah, so myth
But
has already happened,
yeah.
but basically a lot of UK stuff has actually popped up. Like we had Camp Cone, we had myth, and we had quartered. We also had Nang. Um, So UK has
There's
definitely,
gonna be another Nang as well.
yeah,
Like not
another
next
Nang.
week, but the week after that.
Yeah.
So
So we had a lot of
um,
UK stuff, and I will say, just to do a nice little segue into talking about HFLAN, there were a lot of UK players at HFLAN.
yeah.
They were one of the bigger crews going there, like the whole UK gang, and I managed to meet up with a lot of them because I was also there. I was one of very few Swedish players, but we all did pretty well. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be fun to
To
talk
be
about.
fair,
from
it
here.
is just next door for us, isn't it? So
Yeah, that's
just
true.
like, well, it's not as close as like Netherlands or
Yeah.
something. Wait, oh my God, I'm gonna be exposed to my geography. But like,
It's like fairly close. It's fairly close.
you can literally just drive across. Like, you don't need a passport or anything.
That's crazy.
I don't know if I think I think you did need a passport even before Brexit from the UK. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is like not too far from us. But you have to. Did you take a plane?
I took a plane. Yeah, I live in Sweden.
That's
Of
Yeah,
course I
you can't
took a
just like.
There's no
Yeah.
fucking way I'm getting there through any other means. It's way too
Maybe
far.
there's like some speed like
No,
ferry
no,
that like goes
no,
across the
no,
water.
no. You have to.
But no, you'd crash into Denmark first, right?
I'd have to go. Yeah, I had go.
If you went across the water.
I'd have to go from like from southern Sweden into and then like cross the bridge from there to Denmark and then like drive Denmark, Germany, and then like the Germany path to
Yeah, that's long. That's
to
long.
France, which is I think that's pretty far. Anyway, let's not get into that too much.
That's a European like condition, isn't it? All these Americans are just like, oh yeah, we'll drive, we'll take a plane, but we've got multiple countries here, so
True.
it's more of a predicament in that way.
But yeah, I guess I'll just talk about a few UK players who played at, at least that I got to meet. Actually, it's probably
Do you want to start on?
the
Do
pre-week.
you want to start on the pre-weekly? Yeah, actually,
Yeah,
do you have the
actually,
bracket? You're like linking a bunch of brackets to each other, so
Yeah, I only linked the
I
few
just
brackets. I
know
can
you-
link the pre-weekly as well.
Do you remember its name?
Yeah, FSP HFLAN edition. I already have it open.
No, I've got it as well.
Okay, cool. So I went to this. It was on the Thursday before HFLAN. That's when I arrived. It was later in the evening, and I got to meet Max for the first time. That was great. I got to meet Little Chief.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
Who else? I met Naproxen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll say so those were the UK names that stood out for you.
Yeah, and
Because
no pressure
the
was
thing
also
is,
there.
like, yeah. Did you speak to him?
I spoke to him at HFLAN. I don't think I spoke to him at FSP.
Gotcha. Because the thing is, like, it's sort of weird where you would expect, like all the top players are going, so maybe all the top players would like talk to each other, but ultimately, it's just like a weird like social sea. So you end up bumping into and talking to whoever you talk to, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
I-
but you did manage to speak to Max and Chief and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I guess it makes more sense since you're like more friends with them, right, beforehand. So
Yeah, like I already
Yeah.
knew Max. Of course, I wanted to talk to Max. Like we talked a bunch
Mm-hmm.
on Discord. Same with a lot of like the French people, of course, too. But like
Mm-hmm.
I felt comfortable with the UK players, especially since I'm like I'm already in a lot of Discords with UK players, so it makes sense that I would like want to like meet with them IRL.
yeah.
Oh yeah, Glakid was there too, and DJ PJ.
Oh,
Just looking
yeah,
at
it
the
was
I remember
sick people.
DJ PJ did a lot of like good traveling tweets where he like posted pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought that was
He
fun.
was like a travel blogger for the weekend.
Yeah, it
Not
was
even for
great.
the weekend. He actually made like a holiday out of that trip. And he was quite clever in that way that he actually did that.
Yeah.
Because he was there for like a whole week before and he would like make these puns about like the different things that he saw, right? So yeah, shout out
That's
to
great.
PJ.
That's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the first thing, if we just look at the tournament results, I should bring up the first notable thing, and that's a specific name change that I can talk about. We do have some people might be wondering who the fuck Frank the Fisher is, and
Yeah,
I
he's very
mean,
Fisher.
there is a little bit of a story behind that. But the short version is basically Max got exposed by his parents, I think, for going to too many tournaments.
Yeah,
And then
pretty much.
and because of that, he changed his or like he got a Smashy D Smurf so he could play more like weeklies, I think. So
Pretty inventive, I must say. He's
yeah.
actually what a mastermind, huh?
So
What a mastermind of a child. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to some of the children there in the chat, of course. You want to be positive role models and everything.
I mean,
But good for him. When there's a will, there's a way, right?
I did
So
the same fucking thing when I was like,
you did the same. You came up with a different tag
no.
or a
But
different name.
I did the thing where I was very sneaky about that I was attending tournaments when I started.
Of course. Yeah.
Wait.
No,
Sorry,
do you know what?
sorry.
There's one. Oh no, I got unplugged.
I disconnected
Echo,
my
echo,
headphones.
echo, echo.
Okay, I disconnected my headphones, but it's fine now. It's fine
Yeah,
now.
that's cool.
Okay.
What was I saying? No, there was like one time where I went back to London and then I think my brothers were watching the Mang stream and then they were like, "Oh, mom, here's Hassan. He's on stream. Look at him." Or I was like, we're just walking around the background, and my mom was like, "Oh, you came to London. You didn't come see us. Your brother showed me like your picture on stream." All that business. But
The
yeah, sometimes you get exposed, and sometimes you just have to, find a way around it. So,
the
congrats to
cipher
Frank
fucking
Fisher for.
the
Yeah, I
cipher
guess the
exposed you.
cyber snaked me out.
What the
Oh my
fuck?
goodness, he's
Damn.
actually such a snake. You mean he's got his little movements in game. He moves in real life or something. So
But yeah.
I don't know what to say, but shouts to that guy
But
for
anyway,
doing that. But
yeah.
yeah, he came. You beat him. That
Yeah.
was
It
sort of.
it was actually a pretty crazy set. The first set, or like
Yeah, the first one, the one that Pipsqueak tweeted the clip
yeah,
from.
I can say my first round or like my first round was a DQ. Second round was a pretty solid Falco player. I think we went like pretty close, but like was the first round sometimes like it's a little bit more shaky. But he was definitely good. So I felt good like going into it because I had a good mentality. Like sometimes when I play someone I don't know and I'm starting to lose a lot of neutral and stuff, and I usually, or like it's very common for me, so I feel a little bit like, oh, I'm playing bad right now. But I was feeling pretty good still. And then I played Charlon, who's like, well, I definitely knew Charlon. He's played a lot. He's got good results. And he
He got some really good results, especially like in the beginning of net play, right?
yeah,
Or the
and he
beginning of like
also
coronavirus, like he sort of like started beating Prof with like Marth and stuff like that. It was weird.
he was also he was above me on the 2019 Phoenix Blue ranking. I think it was
Yeah.
like 46, 40.
He's quite
47,
well
48,
established.
something.
Oh, he was. You were
Yeah.
50, right?
I was number 50, that's for sure. I remember sharing the same like article with him, or like the same like
Okay.
50
Yeah,
to
the
41.
same reveal post. Yeah, yeah.
It was me, Foutenel, Charlon, Lil Fruzy was there, and then a few others.
Wait, is Little Freezy Frozen Light?
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And they played Puff back then, right?
yeah, exactly.
I remember.
That's what's.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
no, Charlon's like been. I think he's been playing for like 10 years or something like that.
yeah, he's old
And
school.
he's been
on the French.
yeah.
The
And
French
he's been
top.
top 10 for a long time as well. So
It's been good for a while. I did notice he played pretty old school, but But I felt comfortable. I had practiced a lot of like I'd both practiced and theorycraft a lot against Fox before because I know that's one of my weaker matchups and also a matchup I really want to get good at. So
Okay. Yeah,
I felt pretty comfortable game 1. Game 2 he like got a lead on Yoshi's, like got a pretty early kill, and then he like SD'd and he was like, oh no. And then that's when I started feeling good because I was like, okay, he's definitely more nervous
He
than
saw his reaction.
No,
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm definitely the less nervous one here. Like he
Mm-hmm.
usually like all my time on offline, I've always been like the underdog, like the person, like the worst player in the interaction. So I'm always used to like me being the one who really wants to win. But it felt like he was a lot more nervous, like about like he treated me kind of in my head like I was the better player, and he like wanted to beat me and not me wanting to beat him. So that gave me some kind of confidence that like, okay, he's gonna play more shaky in the close situations, so I don't need to worry.
You get that? You got that like overall vibe from him, or are you saying like in that moment when he was
That in that
frustrated
specific
and that
moment,
information?
or like just that's just the vibe I got, and that doesn't necessarily need to be true. Maybe it's just like a tilt against Peach or whatever, or maybe the context is different. But regardless, that's how I felt in the situation, and that gave me confidence. And then I just like played my game, and I think I either won last dock game 2 or something, but like it wasn't too close. But I'm probably reading.
So it's the 2-0, right?
Yeah, I'm probably reading too much into it, but regardless, like I felt pretty good about that. Especially
No, that's
since,
a big thing. That's a big thing because like, sorry, finish his sentence shot.
I felt pretty good, like considering like Charlon in my head is like a pretty good player, and like the fact that I was like able to keep like stay mentally composed and like not worry and just play and like not think about the game and nothing else. That was like good for the rest of my tournament because I knew like that was a good day for me, for sure.
But on what you're saying though, like, what was it called? That's a big thing where people tell themselves things about a situation in order to get them in the right frame of mind, right?
Yeah.
Like in competition in general, like I remember even hearing like, you ever watched the last Dance Shop, the documentary about the what's it called? The 6-time winning Chicago Bulls, and they had these interviews with Michael Jordan. It's actually such a sick one. I recommended everyone to watch it, and so does Soften and Lunary. But what's it called? It's actually so like next gen. It's actually so not next gen, but like next level. Like it's so good. It's like, anyway, it sort of indoctrinated me into basketball and seeing like the Smash Talk did. But in the interviews that they do with Michael Jordan, like he's just some like mentality nut. So he'll just take a situation. Like I think one time a guy was walking past him, like the manager for the other team walked past him in a restaurant where they were eating and didn't say hello. And based on that, he just told himself like, oh, they disrespect me. They don't care about who I am and stuff like that, trying to get a mental edge. And he just like switched it and used that to motivate himself. I remember I've done things like that as well in the past.
Yeah.
But I think everyone does it, and it's just such a like natural thing in competition. So
yeah. But anyway, after that, I had to play Max, who just beat Madness, who's a pretty good Luigi, and I was like, okay, so I'm hoping like that means Max is playing well. So I remember our first game, I was like, because going into it, I know that I'm like pretty good at the Sheik matchup by now, and like I'm not too like worried that and also I knew I was in a good mentality, so I was like, this is probably going to be a pretty good set if Max is also playing well. So like our first game is on Yoshi's, and I go up like 3 stocks to 1. I'm like doing really well, I'm playing really well, and then I start overthinking it a bit, and then I like do some dumb like I try to land on Randall with my parasol recovery, and then I died like 40 because it like barely didn't land on Randall. And then he makes a comeback and wins, and I was like, even then I wasn't too worried. I was like thinking, damn.
And that was game 1.
Yeah, that was game 1. So I was feeling like, okay, well Max won that, but it's like completely fine, and also like Max played well at the end. like the last stock. So I'm like
Okay.
not too. I
Is
don't
it
care
normal
too
in the
much.
matchup to start on Yoshi's?
I just know that I'm pretty good on Yoshi's, and it's a
Okay.
better state for Sheik for sure. But like
Hmm.
my other choices are like start Stadium or start Battlefield, and I prefer.
Hmm.
I just wanted to try Yoshi's in that case.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um, but he wins the first game with a 3-stock comeback, and then I kind of destroy him on Dreamland, which is a good stake for Peach. I remember like 3-stocking him or something. Um, we play on Battlefield, and the third game, and I'm like, he's doing pretty well, but then like he gets a 2-stock lead, um, and then I win anyway, so I like come back to
Okay.
him, or I
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back on him, and I'm like feel at that point I'm like I already felt like okay, well I feel like I'm playing really good, like maybe
Hmm.
I'm able to like, like if I keep playing like this, maybe I'll be able to win the tournament.
Yeah.
Um, but Max, and then the fourth game is the one that ended up on Twitter, which is like he has a lead, I'm coming back, I have a lead, and then it's like the closest fucking set ever. Uh, like I think he had a ton of down throws which he could have converted, but I just barely managed to take on the platform. And then we just
Yeah.
like scrap, and then he gets off stage because of like a nair pressure that I did, and then
Yeah.
like he recovers with Zelda, barely comes back. I do like
Yeah,
the
I remember the
worst.
Zelda recovery as well.
I do like the worst down air because I'm trying to kill him, and then he like
Yeah.
forward airs me from ledge, and I die.
Yeah.
Um,
It's nuts. It's actually so frantic, and it lasts
yeah,
for so long as well. Like you think to yourself, are they just gonna get like, is someone gonna get like a strong hit at some point or something? But it just keeps on going. It's actually so excruciating. Like,
it's
but
a
yeah, he took that game, right?
yeah. He took that game,
In the end.
so but
Yeah.
I was like feeling good. Like it's funny because
Yeah,
I
you
was
looked like, at least from what I could tell, you're wearing a mask, right?
yeah.
But
I was like laughing
you
to
looked
myself a little.
very confident
Yeah, I was
in
like,
general.
I shook my head, or like, I was nodding my head after the match. I was like, yeah.
Mhm.
And the best part about it was that the crowd went fucking wild throughout like the whole last talk. Everyone was going
Yeah.
crazy. And I love it. Even if, when a crowd is like against me, I love having a crowd because I feel like the set is important. And I love like feeling like I'm playing an important set. So
You actually
like,
feel that way. That's
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, I love having a crowd.
As you feel like it sort of locks you into a zone of like
It
concentration.
I feel like the fucking main character. Even if they're cheering against me, it's like
Yeah.
that's when I get in the zone because it's like I feel like when everyone's watching, it's like it feels so hype, and I get hype about the
Yeah.
match, and then I get like invested in like doing stuff and like
Yeah,
playing.
that's actually sick.
It's just a lot of fun. I always have fun with a crowd, especially nowadays. I used to get like bothered by the crowd, but that kind of disappeared after
Mhm.
like I've been playing for
It's
almost 6 fucking years. It doesn't matter anymore. So
it's sort of a weird one where like some people just hate crowds behind them and some people just really feel like
yeah,
pushed and motivated by people watching. And that
uh,
is sort of like a big thing. It's like a big buff if you're able to feel that sort of wave of motivation by having people watching you.
yeah. I mean, I used to hate the crowd, or like I used to hate like feeling pressured, but that kind of
Mhm.
changed, especially since I went through a huge mentality change throughout net play. Like playing
Okay.
offline now feels fucking easy mode.
Yeah,
It's
fair enough.
crazy, but yeah, game
It's
five.
quite interesting.
Anyway, moving on to that game five, Frank the Fisher versus Sharp. I'm like, as I said, I'm feeling good that I know that people are watching and that it's a hype set, and then I just like roll him over on Fountain. I think he played like a lot worse on Fountain, but also I played like
Mhm.
really well, like no super bad obvious openings. I just like keep chasing him, and he's not able to keep up. So I like win that pretty convincingly at the end, which is pretty surprising if you look at the fourth game. But I like win that, and I feel like okay. But like next is Roll, who's like Roll has beaten me twice at the time. Once in
Okay.
2020 at a Save Us and Title tournament where he won like 2-1 super close. It's like a long
Okay.
time ago.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was about to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he also won 3-1 at Gamel, which he like the
Okay.
the last game of that one on Stadium is like a nail biter, and I remember
Okay.
feeling like I could have I definitely could have won that set. I definitely
And
threw like
how recent was Gommel? That was like only a couple months ago, right?
yeah
Or
it
was
was
it
like
closer around
summer.
the beginning of the year? Okay,
It
summer.
was like
Gotcha.
summer, beginning of fall, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. Gotcha.
But regardless, like I lost the Gummel set, which is like recent enough, and I knew he was good. And also, in addition to that, I'd played friendlies with him earlier, and we went pretty even, but he definitely had a slight edge. But I felt pretty confident still, or like I felt like I could put up a good fight, even though felt like he was the favorite. Like when Max and I played, I felt like I was the favorite because
Okay.
I'd won the last set against Max.
And you generally consider yourself like quite good versus Sheik as well, don't you?
I used to be really bad versus Sheik, but then I practiced a lot at the matchup and I
Yeah.
made it a focus point, and then I started beating Telman consistently.
Oh yeah.
And then the last time I played Max, I just felt like really in control. So I was feeling pretty confident. I knew he could win for sure because he's a really good player. But I also know like he's not as good at the Peach matchup as I am as good at the Sheik matchup. And like also we're in similar skills, so I felt like I had the edge. And also I had grinded a lot before the tournament, so I felt like if Max is even a little bit lazy, I'll definitely have an edge.
Something maybe
Yeah, but
maybe
anyway,
he's more exploitable in that area. But
when
yeah,
when it
what happened
come
with
when it comes to the role set, I felt like he had the edge because I've been struggling a lot against Fox players, Rix specifically, but also like every Fox gives me a scare in Europe. Like even the mid-level Foxes can be scary for me. Um, but I did go into that set like I could win, especially if I play well, if I get like a few like really good punishes. And then I started playing and I noticed he was being really animated, like in his expressions, kind of similar to Charlon, except a level above that. And the crop was definitely on,
in general or like when he was frustrated.
like in general, or like when we were playing the set. So like he would do an SD and he would like shake his head violently, or like be visibly mad at himself for making mistakes,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that just made me feel like, okay, I think I have a mental edge right here. Like I'm
It
super
makes you feel like a
composed.
boss.
I'm
It
like
makes you
I
feel like
felt
you're in charge.
yeah, I felt like I definitely felt like I had a lot of composure and that nothing bothered me. Like sometimes when the other player is tilted, I'll feel a little bit like demotivated or like demoralized because it's like I don't want them to feel like mad playing me, right? I want them to have as much
Yeah,
fun
it
as I have.
can. If someone's sort of like really emoting, it can sort of make you feel uncomfortable as well, can't it?
Yeah,
But
but at that time I was just like feeling like I was feeling pretty good about it just because I knew that I was like that game. I had the high ground in that situation, in that mental situation. I had the high ground, so I
you
just
have the
like
high ground.
I win game one. It's like not too close, or like maybe it was pretty close. I win game one and I win game two, and then he destroys me game three, but I make a comeback. And I remember the crowd was like cheering for him, like Ale Raul, the classic.
Yeah, the classic
And
French one. Yeah.
then I also remember he didn't seem to take it as well. Like I feel like he was being more pressured by the crowd. And again, this is just my like
Oh,
mental
by the
assumption.
chanting stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
feel like
gotcha.
he didn't take it too well. And I was taking it really well. Like I was just, as I said, I loved that people were watching the set. Like that gave me a really good feeling.
Yeah.
So, so,
It's
so,
sick. It's such a good position to be in, isn't it?
yeah,
Where all of these people are like doing their best to push someone in to like support someone, and it's all just coming into like it's all just becoming a positive thing for you and a negative thing for them.
yeah,
Like, what an amazing situation to be in.
it's an actual superpower. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's totally nuts.
Uh, but
Subverts
regardless,
expectations from them and everything.
regardless,
But yeah,
he wins game 4. I almost make a comeback. I like get a good punish, but then he like does a CC up smash. He doesn't look too happy about it. I feel like he was thinking, damn, I almost let like Sharp come back there or something like that. But
yeah,
on FOD, I do make a comeback. I'm down 2
okay,
stocks to 1. I'm just like, and then I get a hit and I never let it go. Like I just keep like putting him in disadvantage, and eventually he just dies. And then I was like, okay, I'm in grand finals, winner side, so I feel great about this.
to be honest, do you really think that was that unexpected for you, Shot?
No, I don't feel like
Okay.
it was like super unexpected, but I still went in with the mentality that Raul is favored right now in this
Hmm.
current moment, but
Hmm.
I know I can do it. Everyone knows I can do it, but I have to still like do my best, and like I can't like
Like, how long
drop.
do you think it's? Yeah, sorry.
I just felt like I couldn't drop my focus for even 1 second, because as soon as I
Mhm.
get sloppy, I'll lose for sure.
And how long do you think it's been like you've just been slightly behind him in terms of how people consider you or in terms of even like how what your ability is? Because I feel like you've gotten like I don't know if it's like if you feel like it's a recent thing, but to me it seems like you've really shot up quite a lot recently. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So Raul would have probably been like the favorite by a lot, like up until very, very recently, you know.
yeah.
Or at least that's how I feel. I feel like that's what the European consensus might be as well.
No,
But you sort of like popped off a bit,
that's
it feels like.
probably pretty accurate. Like I think
Mhm.
that the last half of the year has been like definitely the time where I shot up a lot in skill,
Yeah,
but
gotcha.
um like especially I
Wait, Shad,
started.
can you see me?
No, I'm seeing OBS logo.
Oh, no, not this again. Wait, I think I
Your sound
disconnected my
quality is
camera.
worse too.
Yeah, that's not surprising. Wait, let me try something.
Okay.
But yeah, no.
But yeah, I'll just keep talking if that's okay.
Yeah, no, 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 yeah, yeah, go, go.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. The sound quality is nice again, by the way. But
Okay,
yeah, I feel
okay, there we
like
go.
I got better at the second half of the year, especially when I started getting top 8 at the same tournaments, and then like it all like kind of culminated in like my last same tournament result where I like beat Frenzy and beat Lavingi and like did really well. Um, and I feel like after that, people have had a much like higher perception of my skill level, but like that's definitely the point where I'd still say people were like, okay, Roll's probably a bit better than Sharp. Some people would probably like disagree as well. Like I know that Roll is underrated uh, in a lot of for a lot of players, at least in my opinion. I think Roll is really really good, and I feel like he has the potential to be even better. But regardless, like yeah, I think that if someone would consider me having passed Roll, it would only have been very recent uh, when it comes to results and skill and whatever.
Yeah, of course.
Regardless, I get into winners finals grand side or winners uh, grand finals winner side. Oh my god, I felt that so hard. Anyway, so I'm sitting pretty there. I'm just waiting. I'm fine with playing Max. I'm fine with playing Raul. I'm not expecting anyone else to make the run. Maybe
Yeah,
Charlon, but I don't think so. Like
yeah.
Raul has an iron grip on the French community, the French
French,
scene.
yeah, very much. Yeah.
Yeah, like Mahe might have been able to make the run, but like he wasn't there. So,
Mhm, mhm.
um, but Lil Chief has a pretty good run. Lil Chief beats Nekokaze, beats Art, I think it's pronounced. Art or
I
Artie.
think is it Art or Artie? Yeah.
Something like that.
The guy that made the polling fix, right?
Yeah, exactly. The same
Yeah.
person. It's a Peach main, so
Yeah.
or actually no, Artie
Shout out to you.
loses to that's actually Glykid's run.
Oh, wait,
And
are we
then
looking at yeah.
Lil Chief's run is so they cross paths in top 8.
Oh
Uh,
yes, yeah.
yeah, so Glykid beats Nekokaze and Artie or Art. And Lil Chief beats Ping, the Luigi main, pretty good, and also beats Nova, I think ranked in France, Marth main. And then Little Chief actually beats Glykit, which I think is I think would be considered an upset, but like pretty close in skill still, like fairly
Before the
close.
tournament, yeah. Little
Yeah.
Chief, we can talk about a lot. Maybe we'll mention a little bit about him. Maybe we
Yeah,
won't
yeah.
actually, but
But
he's sort of just like
but
trended up. Do you think we will?
yeah,
But
Little Chief.
he's
I can
like,
already mention that he did really well this local. Like he was not seeded to get 5th, but he did get 5th, losing to Max, and also lost to Madness, who's a really good player in general.
yeah, Luigi man.
Yeah, but Little Chief had a little bit of a run at this tournament, and we'll talk about him more for sure.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Fair enough. We'll shadow him.
Yeah, and then Charlon beats Madness and Silo, which he lost to at the last FSP local, I think. So he definitely kind of redeemed himself there. No pressure, unfortunately, losing to Madness the round before. But
yeah, it's rough. That guy, he's beaten like Captain Nebula in the UK, but
I think
he even took a game of Madness, but
yeah.
apparently people have been really saying a lot of good things about Madness recently.
Madness is. I'll talk about Madness. I'll talk about Madness, but he's fucking sick.
Yeah.
But yeah. Charlon beats Madness and Silo, loses to Max. I think that was very convincing. And then Max role play, which Max has won multiple times before. I think Max has even taken tournaments over role, like online tournaments. And Max wins that set to get into grand finals. So it is a little bit sad because Raul was like dominating the FSP, FSP locals before. Like he never lost one, and then he.
Wait, literally never. He's never lost a.
I don't think the FSP locals has been
going on
for
too
too long. Yeah.
Yeah,
I do know that like the commentary talked about like when I beat him, they talked about like this is the first time Raul has lost like a FSP local. And I was like,
wait, did you get the commentary? I swear it was all French commentary, wasn't it?
No.
Was it mostly? It was like French.
It wasn't French commentary at all at the pre-local.
Wait.
You're talking about the side stream.
Side stream, like SylpheGaming, right? It's because it's on the same stream, right?
It's the same stream, yeah.
Yeah, if anyone wants to check the vods, but yeah,
regardless, so it's UK versus Sweden grand finals, and I think Max was playing like he was still playing pretty well. Every game was close, but I win 3-1. I think I win 2 times on Battlefield, or like 1 time on Battlefield, 1 time on Yoshi's, something like that. And then I lose on Stadium, win on Dreamland. So it's like, so that was a really good win actually. I'm really happy about that. Like already, like that's the first. Like I will say, this France trip was like the first time I've ever gone out of the Nordic countries for Smash. If you don't, unless you count the Ireland tournaments, which are like all smaller tournaments. Like I never went.
You went to like Unification, right?
Unification was still like 10 people.
Fair enough. It's like a smaller thing that's part of a bigger Irish FGC event, right? It wasn't like a schism or something.
Yeah, it was like a pretty big ultimate tournament, which by the way I beat one of their power ranked ultimate players. A little bit of flex. But otherwise, like it was definitely a very small melee tournament.
So this is your proper like trip beyond
big first real
beyond the wall.
Yeah, like the only other tournaments I've been to, like big tournaments, were Valhalla 2 in 2019. I've been to Phoenix Blue 2 in Sweden in 2019, and also Vivaldi, which was in Norway, also 2019. Yeah. I did pretty okay at the time at all of those. Oh, and also just gonna shout out Larster real quick. We can probably skim over the local that happened today after we talk about HFLAN. We did have a pretty.
We're adding more to the menu, but yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's just us two, right? So why not?
Might as well.
Why not? But regardless, just to finish the thoughts, like definitely my first big like melee tournament trip outside of the homelands, I would say. And I'm really happy already that I was able to win the tournament, the pre HFLAN local, because it was like not only the biggest, like I think it's the biggest IRL local I ever won, like numbers wise.
Yeah, it was quite big.
Yeah, it was like 33 people, according to the attendee list.
You never had more than I guess you might have been at one, but you haven't won it, right? So it's pretty big.
I have been at like a lot of, like, I almost never won locals back before quarantine.
Yeah, it makes sense, to be fair.
But I've definitely been at bigger tournaments and bigger locals. But regardless, I did win that one, and it was also the most stacked tournament I've ever won. It was like,
well, that's actually a big W. Are you talking about just online or
online?
Just online or
online? It's debatable. I probably won more stacked tournaments, but Roll and Max is definitely a pretty huge win.
Definitely, yeah.
And Charlotte
really
too.
And you did it so convincingly as well, right?
I mean, the max sets
the
were
one
pretty
winners
close.
max set, yeah.
And
But
I consider the Roll set fairly close.
3-1. Okay, fair enough.
But it's like
The way you
I mean,
described it,
I didn't drop a set or anything, so
Mhm.
not to flex too hard. But yeah, that was a lot.
No, you were playing really well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I especially liked just meeting everyone. It was the first time I ever talked to Max. It's the first time talking to Lil Chief, and I got to talk to those a lot. I also met a lot of other people, like the French community. As I mentioned a little bit, I played friendlies with Roll before the tournament. Talked to him just a little bit.
And did you actually did you fly into like France and then that's the first thing you went to do, or were you around for a little bit, or what's happening there?
No, so we flew in to I think it's pronounced Charles de Gaulle.
Charles de Gaulle.
Yeah, the airport, and then we took the train to Paris.
Okay.
And then we went to the hotel. We were supposed to we were hoping to get into the hotel early. The check-in was at like 1, but we got there like 11. But we weren't able to get in, of course.
Wait. Are you talking about on Wednesday, or are you talking about on Thursday?
Thursday. I did get there on Thursday. So we tried to get into the hotel. We weren't able to, so we went to cafe and just waited there.
So you were way too early then?
Yeah, like 2 hours early. But that's fine. I mean, we chilled. And then got into the hotel, rested a little bit, and then like the tournament started later. Like at, I think, around 7, like 6, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So we did get there on the day of the tournament, but it was like.
And who's we? Like, who are you traveling with?
It's me and my dad.
I
traveled together with my dad.
Nice.
He didn't attend any of the tournaments, but I knew he wanted
just, walked him out.
Yeah. Just hung out with him whenever I wasn't at the tournament. It was pretty nice.
Nice. That's nice, yeah.
And then, so on the Friday after the tournament, I basically was at my hotel the whole day. I was maybe planning on like playing a little bit with the Roll, but the plans didn't really work out, so I took the day and just rested, which was fine too. I looked at a few Armada videos on my cell phone.
Nice. Yeah.
So I still kind of warmed up.
You were sort of like, what did you say? I think you said at the time like you were just like you're just like chilling by yourself, and I think I said something like you're like Goku in like the water, or, you know, those like chambers feeling or whatever.
It's like because I slept through almost the entire day.
Yeah.
Because I was really tired from the
like
flight.
Going and like doing tours and stuff like that, you were just like sleeping and chilling and waiting and watching your Armada videos.
Yeah.
No wonder you did so well at like the tournament, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the Friday was the first day, or no, the Saturday was the first day of the tournament. So I took.
And they just did pools on that day, right? Did they not do any bracket?
There was only pools that day, yeah, and that also was doubles brackets.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, we teamed with Foul, right?
Yeah, I teamed with Faltenel. We were actually supposed to team at Myth, but you know. Anyway,
Just skip by that one.
Anyway, the people who know the context know.
Yeah.
But I did go to the venue a little bit early. I wanted to be early, and then we had to wait. I think they had some TOing stuff to do, so we waited for a while, and then we waited,
There was something that happened, wasn't there?
and then we
There
waited,
was a
and then
little
we
event.
finally got let in like 30 minutes past when we were supposed to get in, but that's fine. We just
Okay, this was before the incident, right?
before the incident. I'll get to that.
Okay, gotcha.
So then we get in. UO actually comes up to me, and he's like, and we actually decided in beforehand that we were gonna money match. We're gonna money match Kirby versus Bowser. My Kirby versus his Bowser. It was like a really small amount, but so we went to play on the setup. Like immediately when we got in, we got our bands, and then we played like one stock. The nastiest stock of my Kirby's life, by the way. I absolutely decimated UO's Bowser, that one stock.
Does this shop Kirby have a name?
Kibi. It's the piss Kirby, but it's the
Okay,
canon
nice.
name. It's the canon name because it's if you look at Kirby's Dream Course, the other Kirby, the player 2 Kirby is a yellow Kirby named Kibi. So that's my Kirby.
Okay, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
That's at least what I decided back in like 2016.
Yeah, gotcha.
Anyway.
Nah, that's actually some Nintendo lore.
Yeah. Anyway, after my first stock, a TO comes up and says, "You're not allowed to play on the setups yet." So we get thrown out. We get to wait outside, or like the outside, like inside the venue, but like outside the playing area. And then we wait for a while, and then we get brought into like a theater, where the mainstream was. By the way, this is when they had like two CRT setups, and like you can see it on the stream. And then there's like a big projector where the gameplay is shown.
So everyone was brought into that one theater.
Yeah,
Just
the people
keep everyone
are.
there. It was easier to like move them about, I guess.
Yeah, so I sat down with a few others, a few UK people, I think, if I remember correctly, and people are just going in and we're waiting. So there was a lot of waiting at the start for sure, which I understand because like. Of course, not everything is like, it's not easy to like do everything on the spot. So it's easy to like just like go a little bit over time when it comes to preparations. But we were waiting. We were basically what we were waiting for. By the way, was that they were gonna do like COVID instructions or like rules. So they were gathering everyone there, and I think they were also waiting for a lot of people to arrive because they wanted to like let as many people know about like the mask rules and stuff.
Yeah, gotcha.
So we're all getting in there, and it looks like everyone's basically arrived. And I'm like, it's probably gonna start soon. So we start seeing like smoke, and it's like, and the first thing we're thinking, we're like asking each other like, what is this smoke? Is it like, are they gonna make like a grand entrance? Like like a big like, I don't know. We weren't, and then I was like, I was smelling it.
You were seeing the smoke for like a while then.
No. It's like it's just starting to show up, and it's like
okay.
And then I asked like I'm like smelling it, and like this like smells like actual smoke, like not fake smoke, not like a smoke machine. It smells like actual smoke. So we're like asking, like, is this a fire? Is something on fire? And then we're just like, we're just gonna wait here. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. And then eventually they're like, all right, everyone's gonna leave. After telling us to wait, and we sit there for so long, and they're like, you gotta leave. And then we found out that it's a phone battery that exploded.
Yeah. Wait, so you smell the smoke?
Yeah,
you tell people around you that you're smelling smoke, and you think it's like real smoke, right?
Yeah,
and then
I was just confused.
Like, all sort of like calm and just like no one like. There's no stampede out of the theater or anything.
No, we weren't.
Like, everyone's just orderly.
Well, first of all, there isn't a lot of smoke. It's not like filling up the room or anything.
Gotcha.
It's just like a small little smoke cloud. And then also, it's like it's no fire is visible, at least from me. Like it was in the front row, and I was sitting like way over here. Like I was sitting like pretty far away. and we
Okay.
and according to Yoa, we're also told to sit still. Yeah, in the beginning we were told to sit still. I don't know if they told us that when the smoke showed up, but regardless, like eventually they told us to get out, and nothing really happened. But that's basically the way we started.
So there's stories about a chair setting on fire. There was actually no fire, right?
No
Is that what you're
fire.
saying?
At least no fire that I saw. I like
That's
looked
sort of
too. Like when I
romanticized.
went past it, I like looked for a fire. Like, is there a fire? But I didn't see any. That's at least
Oh,
from
so
my.
it was behind you. That was
No, no,
the
no, no.
smoke
It
went
was
up.
on the front row.
Okay,
I was
gotcha.
behind the
Okay.
fire, and then I went like when we went to the door. That's when I looked. Like when I went past it.
You got a peek in. Okay,
I tried
okay, no,
to
I
get a
see.
peek.
Okay, gotcha.
They didn't tell us it's still mid-fire. Yeah, exactly. But
Okay, gotcha.
basically, after that, it's like 30 minutes past when doubles is supposed to start, and because we've been waiting for so long, which is like, and then they just tell us basically, okay, now and then they like quickly explain the rules in the playing area instead. They used like a megaphone, and then we just like started playing doubles. So.
Yeah, it makes sense that all of the schedule would be pushed back because of what you're saying and the smoke and the waiting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They ended up canceling crews as well, right? That was the thing that was going to happen, but didn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's understandable.
Cruise was
given the
like
context.
Cruise was supposed to happen later, but it was like first it was supposed to happen later on Saturday, but then like it was like we didn't the thing was that we didn't really, although that we started past schedule, it definitely ended way before schedule because they had like left pretty big holes like for lunchtime and stuff, so they still managed to get everything on schedule, which was pretty great by the tournament organizers, and very smart too that they set up the schedule like that. But doubles started and everything went pretty well. They had a lot of setups. I don't know how many I mean, EU tournaments always have a lot of setups, but I was definitely very happy with the playing area itself. It was a very good playing area. Like there were almost always free TVs as well. Like if you wanted to play friendlies, there was like playing areas in the back too, like close to the P plus. May or may not be P plus setups on the way back. But there were a few there where there
was that like sort of hold thing where it's just like a row of, it was just the room was like a row and you had those like windows and like on the balcony you had the side stream set up, right?
They had
Was
like
it that room? Was that the playing area?
Yeah, they had like a lot of rows of setups, and then as you said, they
just
had
on,
like a balcony, which
rows.
I was never up there at the balcony.
You didn't get a stream there? You were
No,
in
I was
the
only on the main stream.
Main stage. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
They only put Sharp on the big screen.
On the big screen. Yeah.
But regardless, my doubles pool was pretty fun. We had like only floaties.
Oh, so it was just they did a pool as well. It wasn't just straight doubles bracket.
Oh, it was pools brackets. Bracket pools.
Okay, bracket pools. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
So my first round is a Chic Puff versus, by the way, Peach.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but we kind of destroy them, and then our next round is either Luigi Puff or Peach Puff, and the Peach Puff to Dutch players, Tommy and Tata, actually made the upset. So we got Peach, and Puff on the main stream.
Gotcha. Was that? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Because I remember Tommy and Tata. Yeah, because there was also like, was it Renzo and NVZ who were teaming or something like this?
They weren't in our pool.
Okay, gotcha. Because no, I remember there were two Dutch teams. Obviously, Fout was on your team as well.
Yeah.
He's also Dutch, but I remember there were two Dutch teams who were against you on stream. Like, oh no, not against you, but there was you versus Dutch team and then another Dutch team that came on after. But yours was
we
Peach Puff, right?
Yeah, we played Peach Puff. We did play versus Skullbro and Slim Shady, which is half Dutch.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I will say, I did mention previously that a lot of UK people were at HFLAN. a lot of Dutch people were also at HFLAN. It was like the French crew was the biggest, of course. The Dutch crew was big. It was like Fontenelle, Renzo, Skolbro, Noon, NVZ, Tommy N, Tata. We had a lot of Dutch people, and we had, as I mentioned, a lot of UK people. We had very few Swedish people. It was like me, Pipsqueak, Abiarv, Meaty, and then Abiarv's friends, and that was it. He had like, I think they had two friends with him.
Yeah.
And I think he teamed with one of them. I don't think they entered singles brackets. Maybe they did. I'm not sure. Either way, the sad part about the Swedish people were like, it was sad for a while that I wasn't able to get a crew, because we had the most stacked crew, but we didn't have a fifth Swedish person. So
They're just not a fifth person at all.
Well, we did have Abiar's friends, but I was like pretty sure they didn't want to play, and I wasn't able to get a hold of them.
Fair enough.
So I asked Max at the pre-weekly. I was like, "Do you want to join the Swedish crew?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, sure, I'll play for you guys." And I was like, "Yes, I stole Max." And then the fucking UK people rioted when they found out.
Yeah,
I remember Prof's reaction was really funny.
What did you say?
No, he was just like really mad that I tried to steal Max.
I would be, to be honest, it's like, to most people that would be like, you wouldn't have to be afraid.
It would be, but they had so many people. We can take one.
No, sure, but
we can take one.
But you wouldn't. It's so insane. Like, it doesn't make sense in any way to play for a different country that you've never even. I don't know if Max has even ever set foot in Sweden. Like,
I'll get him here. I'll get him here.
If he's ever spoken a Swedish word in his life,
I'll teach him. I'll teach him. Yeah, I'll do anything it takes. Max is getting on the next crew battle for Sweden.
Fair enough. Now, to be honest, I've actually done something maybe a bit similar. But when I got like tempered shoes and Mordo to play for the Muslim crew,
you converted them?
Yeah. Damn. And then Omid was like, "Oh, Archie, who's like the Muslim prophet?" And I had to like secretly like whisper it into his ear, like when Omid wasn't looking. But like. So yeah, to be honest, things, I'm maybe being a bit hypocritical when I say that I'm sort of disgusted and like horrified by it, which I am, by the way.
But it would be so funny.
Nah, it's messed really up. Funny. It's actually so messed up.
No. Anyway.
But no.
Cruise didn't happen anyway. It was too late on the Saturday, and on Sunday after the tournament, they just took down all the setups. Which is usually what happens, but it was unfortunate with no crews, but I mean, Sweden wouldn't be able to win because we didn't have a crew, so, who cares?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, I mean, Avial's friend is definitely the person who gets step in there. But...
Yeah. But doubles was fun. We got fifth, me and Fontenelle. We played double peach, and some teams just got crushed because we're just two good peach players spamming good peach moves. And like playing against that without knowing like really good double strats is hard. So like we got a lot of like double down smash and stuff, and it was like dumb, but it was a lot of fun.
Wow. I didn't even think about the prospect of double down smash.
There was one time where I told him, I was like, I go on a platform and I down smash. You never jump. You just stand there and do aerials below the platform, and we win. And we did so, and we win.
It's like a impenetrable wall.
But we did lose to two French teams. We lost to Charlon and Mahi, who played like really good, like synergy. They both had their spots, which they held down like perfectly. They like kind of kept us from getting anything started. Like played really good defense. So they just won. We had a few close games, but there was a 3-0. So they definitely had an edge.
I'm trying to think of like a French pun of PFAB, but I can't think of anything, so I'll leave it to chat.
Yeah. And then we did have a really good set versus Baxon and Roll. I felt like... So I was like feeling like I had really good synergy with Fault in that set. And I was like... I was communicating a lot, which I was happy about. Like usually I'm pretty bad at communicating in doubles because I'm always trying to do my own thing because I'm not really a doubles player.
Gotcha.
But I was like, okay, do this, like sneaking in a few like things so you can implement, and it was going well. But the last game, I feel like the last game we played really shaky at the start because we felt like we could win, and then we kind of flubbed it, and it was too hard to come back.
Gotcha.
And then if we won that, we would have been in the money, but we weren't. But well,
so it was top 4. That's weird.
Well, it's
Top 4 payout. Interesting.
It's a smaller doubles tournament, so.
Gotcha. No, because it's normally top 3 or like top 5, right?
Yeah.
I guess top 4 sort of makes sense. I guess if it's a small pool, they want to spread it, but yeah. I guess.
Talking about the UK results, I mean, Frenzy and Professor Pro did win.
Yeah, they came through 2 sets in grands, right? I remember watching that.
Yeah, Kinzo Ricks beat their asses in winners finals, and then they came back in grands.
They took a game in winners finals.
And then they came back in grands and kind of showed them what's up.
Yeah, it was really exciting to watch as well. It was like a lot of really close games that, you know, what's it called? That Frenzy and Prof was sort of like lucky to pull back even, I'd say. But overall, like you could really feel how well they were playing in what's it called? In grands.
Yeah, I feel like Prof and Frenzy and winners finals just felt really sloppy. I was like, I don't know why they're playing so sloppy, but then they kind of still played a little bit sloppy in grands, but made it work still. And then I felt like after the first set where Prof and Frenzy barely win, I felt like Kinzo Ricks got a little bit demoralized, maybe, but I'm not sure. And then, so that's unfortunately the only event UK managed to win. But
you put it that way, yeah. Okay. I mean, there's only 2.
But regardless, it was a good doubles event. Also, Luan and BR Tarol got 5th.
Yeah.
They had a pretty good run.
Yeah, really good run.
And it's always fun seeing Luan play. So let's go Ireland. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, you're Luan stan.
Yeah, of course. I got that.
It makes sense.
I'm still on the Irish PR, but not on the.
Really?
Yeah, they made a PR in 2020, and that's the only one I'm in, or like the most recent PR I'm in.
You were technically in the UK.
No.
Which was.
Or I was
in Northern Ireland.
Oh yeah, I was technically in the UK. I thought you were gonna end that with you were technically in the UK PR. I was like, no.
No.
But okay,
no.
I did technically live in the UK. Yeah.
But I guess was there any like results that you actually got at a Northern Irish tournament?
I didn't get any good results.
Not really.
I mean.
No, I mean because I can't think of any Northern Irish tournaments that happened or ever actually. I'll be honest.
We did play. We did have our locals. Weekly?
Okay.
It was like me and Maxi in grand finals every week. If Maxi wasn't there, it was me versus.
How many people did those get?
It was like 10, 12 people. But like we also had like if you count in the Smash Ultimate people, it was both Smash Ultimate and Melee. It was quite a few.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. And so, did you get like a lot of Ultimate players playing Melee, or were they just pure Melee players that were?
Mostly Melee players playing Melee.
For sure. I remember who did Northern Ireland have? They had Craft as well, didn't they? Was Craft around back then?
Craft didn't play while I was playing.
No?
It was like me. It was Maxi. We were definitely the top dogs, and no one else really challenged us at the time. We had Bus, of course, and we also had Josh, aka Brogue, the Sheik main.
Oh yeah, okay.
And we had, I think Heaps was there once or twice. A Peach main.
I actually know nothing about Heaps. Yeah, he's like a Australian Peach main who's in Spain now.
Yeah,
and you're telling me that he was also in Fox player?
Box player, like a frame one or box player. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, gotcha. That's weird. He's like some world's traveler or something.
Yeah, and
Some
then
world warrior.
we had a few others. We have Faith, who's another Peach main. But regardless, I feel like we're going a little bit off track.
Yeah, gotcha,
Back to
gotcha. No, that's
HFLAN.
interesting. I've never heard of these like Northern Irish things. That's what I'm
No,
saying. But
it's a pretty
yeah,
low key scene. It's like
Mhm.
because
And because
Mint,
no one wants to come from Dublin as well, right? Because it's too far away.
yeah, Dublin is pretty far away, and Mint lives
Mhm.
pretty far away from Belfast, which is the capital.
The capital city. Yeah,
Yeah, so Mint didn't go to any locals. It was really just like a bunch of homies playing Smash. I entered the Ultimate
yeah,
tournaments though. I did fine.
fair enough. But yeah, HFLAN. So
Yeah. So
doubles,
doubles frenzy prof
friends and
one.
profs
Let's
take it. Yeah,
let's go. Our England's coming home and all that.
England's coming home. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's move
Sick,
on
sick.
to singles. So
Mm-hmm.
I show up pretty early. I remember just gonna talk about just gonna mention pools like real offhandedly because pools were not notable. I think
Mm-hmm.
I know that Yuo was upset in pools, but I'm sorry for bringing that up, Yuo, but that's like the only notable result. And otherwise, it's like fairly expected. Every result was expected. The pools were always like one top player and then a bunch of lower leveled players. And apparently Yuo lost like, to Ganon, who was 30 minutes late. That's funny.
Oh no.
Um,
Yeah, those pools were tiny as well. I was saying it before the stream, but like it was like really small pools. It was
yeah,
like 4-man, 5-man pools max, I
but
think. So yeah, it was interesting how they did that. But yeah.
pools went on. It went really really smoothly. I had a pool. I had kind of an annoying pool because like a lot of players showed up late. Like just like at first we only had 3 people, and then we 3 played, and then it was like, okay, are we done now? No, I'm also joining, and then we had another player, and it's like, but eventually it went fine. It went fine. As I said, it's a pretty small pool. So bracket day, I show up pretty early because I had ridden with Renzo the day before. Renzo wanted Peach practice because Renzo had Faut and L in his path. His
Oh yeah, his Netherlands only.
his countryman, and
His countrymen, yeah.
Renzo had actually beaten Faut and L like the last 5 times, 6 times. Like
What?
Renzo
Okay.
definitely
What's
had
your
a
practice report? Wow.
strong grip on Faut. But Faut is still good, and they used to trade sets. It's just that Renzo absolutely had like the advantage, like the
He
strong
pushed forward a bit.
advantage. Yeah. So he asked me for warm up still because he's a respectable competitor that doesn't underestimate anyone. Let's go Renzo. But I told him like that's my doubles teammate, right? So I told him I will give you all the warm up you need, but I'll show up early too if you want, but everything after we play I'll give away all of your secrets to Fountainelle, and I'll give him tips on how to beat you.
Yeah.
And he was like, oof. Okay. So
That's fair enough.
so that's exactly what happened. I play him for a while. Little Chief joins in. It was a fun session. I got a lot of Marth practice.
Nice.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That comes
So this
in
was
handy
at the venue on Sunday.
yeah, before singles starts.
Gotcha.
So I play a lot, and I feel really good. I think I played pretty well versus Marth and those friendlies. And like I'm moving, grooving, and I'm edge guarding, and I'm like okay. And I'm kind of noticing stuff because I had played a lot with Renzo before, like on net play. And I remember we used to go really, really even, usually to his favor. But we haven't played in a long time, and I've gotten a lot better versus Marth.
Yeah, you
So-
got that Marth buff I was about to say.
Yeah.
You started beating a bunch of them. We'll
So
talk about that as well. You got a certain Marth in it. Actually, yeah, it ended up being very useful for you as well to get that practice, right?
That's like I'm
Yeah.
using it the Chekhov's gun. I'm using this
Yeah.
this fact for a later point.
Yeah.
But when I play a lot and I start noticing things that I haven't even noticed before, So after the set, I actually found like, or after the games, I found Faut right away. Like he's right outside the playing area. So I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk to you about like, I'm just gonna ramble about a bunch of stuff that I started realizing about Renzo's gameplay, and I'll just like try to help you as much as you can. So I asked him about like what he struggles in the matchup, and I gave him. I remember him noting like edge guarding, and then I gave him a few like turnip tips that he could use, and like stuff like flowcharts I do, and then also like habits and like patterns that Renzo does that he could probably abuse if he's playing well. So I just remember giving him a lot of tips, and I felt good about that because I was like, if any Peach is able to implement this, it's absolutely Faut, because he's like,
nice.
I watch his gameplay and like a lot of his stuff makes sense to me. So like I can definitely set myself in his shoes.
He feels like he plays like a similar style to you, is what you're saying?
Definitely not. We play very differently. But
what do you mean then? What do you mean?
Well, it's just like just because it doesn't make sense. It's like he does an option. I'm like, I wouldn't have done it that way, but I understand why he did it. Like he kind of he has very different flow charts to me, but like he plays very logically, in my opinion. It's just that he picks different options in different flow charts. So it's,
that makes sense.
And also he's like a lot more technical because he plays on the frame one. So
of course, he's played a few characters as well in the past, hasn't he?
He played Ness. He played Ness.
Ness, Ness and Falcon, I think maybe he might have played a bit Falcon. So he's executionally probably is like quite experienced when it comes to that.
Peach.
But
But regardless, after that, I prepared to play my first round, which is against a Falcon player, a French Falcon player. I win pretty convincingly. It's like the pull sets. I wasn't too worried. He played pretty well. I think maybe he could have won if I played a little bit worse, or if he played a little bit better. But regardless, it wasn't.
Really?
I mean,
it was round one. You're saying?
Yeah, like he was pretty. I think he was pretty good. Like, but I wasn't worried per se. But regardless, I win 2-0, and then my next round is the legendary Peach Ditto versus Yuo. And
I heard a little bit about this. I can't lie.
So a little bit of context. We have played once before at a UK netplay tournament, like a long time ago. Start of 2021. So that match was game 3 in a best of 3, last stock, last hit on FD, I think. And it was like super close that I lose, but I just barely win, and I'm like, okay. And I remember having a sigh of relief, and then I win that tournament, I think. I must have won that tournament because I've never lost a long net play that I've entered.
What? Never?
No, I've won like 6 of them. I've lost 0. So it's not like a ton, but regardless, I definitely like I won that like a little bit randomly. I feel like I could have lost that for sure.
But then the online.
Yeah, the online. And then I played friendlies with him after that, and I like destroyed him in every single friendly, I think.
What are you talking about after the
netplay tournament? Yeah, I remember I played him in netplay, and he was like, he told me after, he was like, that wasn't close at all. And I was like, and then after that, every time we played friendlies, it's been like pretty dominantly me favored. But I was still like, I remember like going into the set, I was like, why do I feel like Yuo can win this? Oh no. It was like that worrying feeling. But then I like played, and then as soon as first game started, I was calm. I like we played on Battlefield. I was like, okay. I played a lot versus another Peach main, Mr. Boboget, and although he has a weird rule of never using special turnips, he's still a really good Peach player. Yeah, he never uses Stitch Face
and he's a Stockholm player, right?
Yeah, only plays in Stockholm basically. But it's really hard playing him because I have no experience playing against like Stitch Face and bombs and stuff like that, because he throws them away. He always throws them away. But I win game 1 against Yuo pretty convincingly. And then it's time for me to choose what I should ban. And I have to ban either Yoshi's Story and Fountain of Dreams. And I think both of them are annoying because I can just like randomly lose on both.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, okay, I'm hoping that I don't get down smashed too much. So I ban Yoshi's, and he goes Fountain of Dreams. And he just, I think I have a lead, but then he just started comebacking me. And then I started getting hit by down smash, and especially platform down smash. And I remember thinking, oh no.
I was hoping I wouldn't get hit by down smash. And
I was like, this is kind of what I mean, maybe I was having like really bad thoughts. I was like, maybe I should have gone Yoshi's. I feel dumb for getting hit by these down smashes. Why am I playing like this?
The mentality, the shot mentality has been built up over all this net play has started to crumble at the hands of Yuo.
Yeah, it's the fucking Yuo effect. I swear, it's the Yuo effect. And then he wins game 2, and I'm like, and then I remember I took a deep breath, and I'm like, okay, whatever happens now happens. And if I go to losers early and I have to fucking make a losers run, whatever. But I'll just play my heart out and I'll let it happen. I'll let the gameplay like speak for itself. So I pick Dreamland as the counter pick because I'm like, okay, I want it to be all about neutral interactions, and I feel like I can just like, because I was unsure if I wanted to go FD again because I thought about that net play set and I was like, it was way too close.
Yeah.
And I just wanted
in that
to
moment,
like.
you actually thought about the net play set.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But
well, it must have been. How long ago was it? Like a year or something?
It was almost a year. Almost a year.
That's
But
crazy.
regardless, I like thought about that and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick Dreamland, and then I think I have a lot of experience on Dreamland. I can probably make it happen.
Okay.
So it goes like really even. We go like, I take his stock, he takes my stock. It like goes back and forth, back and forth. And then there's one moment where I think I have a lead, and then I throw a stitch upwards. But so here's the thing that I haven't talked about. This sounds so stupid, so please bear in mind. But as you can notice, I'm not wearing any glasses. I haven't worn glasses for a long time. It's because my glasses broke. So I'm getting somewhere with this. So, but I've been playing melee just fine. Like, I can see close to me. But I noticed one thing at HFLAN, and it is that I have a very hard time on like small CRTs, like especially considering my vision, to distinguish between the stitch faces and like the normal turnips. So when I throw up a stitch face, I like have to look at it. I like sit like this. And Yuo fucking comes in with like invincibility and catches it.
So he was coming from the respawn platform and he drops down.
Yuo can correct me if this is wrong, but I think that's what happens. At least he catches my stitch face. And then like he uses it, and I remember like maybe he gets a hit, maybe he doesn't. This is like a wild fever dream for me because I don't fucking remember like any. I think I blocked out the set from my head, but I do remember that very yeah, he was responding. He's confirming that. So he like throws it.
God. Imagine you literally throw a stitch face into the air, and you're
I remember like
you might as well have passed it to him.
I would have panicked in that moment, but I remember what I told myself. Whatever happens, happens. I'm okay with any outcome right now because like if Yuo wins, that's fine. I'll just meme about it. It'll become a laugh later. I've lost a fluent coding before. We're all good.
True. I've seen that video.
Anyway,
mentality champion.
We're in both on last stock. I get him in like an edge guard situation. I just keep knocking him off stage, and I'm noticing he's nervous. His recovery, or at least I think he is, because his recovery is not good. He's like fast falling way too many times, and I'm just floating over here. He's like falling into me. I'm just naring him off stage, and eventually I just like I just hit him way too many times, and he can't stay alive forever. So I win that set like 2-1, but I could have been destroyed for sure. If he used that Stitch Face a little bit better, I would have lost for sure. Like, it's so hard for me to play around Stitch Face when I'm like not used to it, but I think he kind of flubbed the Stitch Face a lot.
Yeah,
So
it's actually so crazy. The way you describe the set, like it's like some sort of like anime plot line.
I
Like,
know.
first of all, I was playing against, like, in my hometown, I played against this guy who doesn't, it's like he doesn't fight with his feet or something like that.
Dude,
And then you go to a new town and like some guy starts kicking you and like you've never
this
seen this
is
before.
why Melee
And then you don't have your glasses. Like, it's
Dude,
actually so
Melee is
crazy.
fucking anime. I swear.
It's true. It's true.
But this is not the end of it, okay? The best is yet to come.
Still, the best. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's hear.
So I'm gonna talk about the next set that is coming up. So like, I was of course expected to beat Yuo, and I was expected to win my next match too, which was against Lil Chief or Madness, who played at the pre-local, and Lil Chief lost at the pre-local, and Lil Chief loses again at HFLAN to Madness again. So I get to play Madness, a Luigi player. And so we're gonna get into this set. I'm gonna talk about this is a set. So this was again an off-stream set, and I knew Madness was good. Like, Madness has beaten Abiar, has beaten a lot of good players for sure. Like, picked up wins.
I commented to the set where he was playing someone. I think it was like some top Fox player that he beat. Maybe might have actually been Raul. I might be wrong though.
I don't think Madness has beaten Raul.
It was someone, maybe Charlon then.
Yeah, he's beaten Charlon for sure.
Okay.
But regardless, Madness is very good. But I didn't know how good. And the one set, so a little bit of context again. I have to give context a lot of things because it's like everything builds on itself so much.
Yeah.
But before going to that tournament, or like going to France, I'd only lost to 2 people on offline, like 2 real sets on offline this entire year. One of them is Pipsqueak, and the other one is Pup, or Pap. And that is a Luigi player from Gothenburg.
Yes, from Gothenburg, it's Sentenced to Smash, right?
Yeah, who beat me in a last hit set at a Gothenburg tournament in pools. Like,
in pools, yeah.
And then I win the tournament without dropping a set in brackets against Meaty and a few other good players.
I was about to say, being a lot more formidable players than Pap.
So it's like, so like one of the only people I lost against this year, it was Luigi. And I know that I haven't practiced much Luigi at all, which is that's on me for sure. So, but I haven't covered that weakness really yet. So I was like, I was thinking to myself, I can lose to Madness for sure. So I have to be really, really focused, because like I don't know his habits. I'm not seeing how he plays versus Peach. I don't know how good he is in general. So I have to like play as good as I can. So we go into the set like almost immediate, or I think there was a little bit of a break because I had to find him, and then I asked the TO, and then I found him, but weren't supposed to play our set yet.
Did you say you have to TO?
No, I have to find a TO.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But to find Madness for him, because I didn't know how Madness looked like.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And then eventually, like after a while, we play. In game 1, I remember was on Battlefield, and I was doing my classic like anti-Luigi stuff, which I like learned back in like 2018, 2019, which I've used for every single Luigi, which is basically like back air and turnips, and I just spam back air and hope for the best.
With like the Luigi and below matchups, you can sort of just reduce it to certain things that you just do over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Unless you play someone that's like way better than you, but
yeah, exactly. I remember being rolled over by Jaridon for not knowing like any of the spacings, and he was like clearly had such an edge on me. Like it was close in terms of game and stock counts, or like in terms of the stock counts in the games, but it wasn't close in terms of like how I felt the gameplay was going. But like I actually win game 1 pretty convincing versus Madness. Like he looks pretty lost versus me. He wins a pretty close game on Yoshi's, I think, like a pretty close one. He won, and I was like, I noticed that game that his neutral was really solid. He didn't do anything fancy, but he played like really solid neutral, and he was like really hard to get in on, and his punishment game was good. So he was like a very good all-around Luigi.
Mhm.
And then game 3, I pick a Dreamland, which is my classic pick versus Luigi, because Peach can't fucking die on Dreamland versus Luigi. And usually she dies pretty early. But instead, he was the one that refused to die. He lives to like 200% on like 2 of the stocks, I think.
Whoa, okay.
And I
Yeah.
just can't edge guard him. I can't kill him. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why am I?
It was hard to see. That's crazy. To be honest, because that's when Luigi's recovery sort of really struggles a lot,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
So it's sort of nuts that he was able to do that well.
usually like Peach can kind of oppress Luigi when he's on the ledge. So you kind of just like throw a lot of turnips while he's off stage. If he ever overcommits with side B, you can hit him, and like you can generally just like bully him off stage until he dies. But like I wasn't. He was finding really good ways to getting back to stage, and like he wasn't dying. Like he was living for a long time. So
Yeah.
I was getting a little bit impatient. Like I was good
Yeah.
mentally. I was good. I was calm, but I was getting impatient. Like I was running into Luigi's moves because I was trying to find ways to like beat him in neutral instead of letting him to come to me. Like instead of treating him like a low tier, because it wasn't working. But I lose game 3 on my counter pick, so he's up 2-1. And I remember that's when a crowd started to gather, like the French crowd, which I was hyped about, because I
Yeah.
was like,
Again.
I was feeling a little bit of like the pressure. I was feeling the upset pressure, which is like when all the boys like go to like cheer for their boy, and it's like that kind of that feeling that everyone knows that it might happen. And I felt this before, except I never felt like I'm the one that the upset is gonna be made on. I've
Okay.
never been in that
Yeah.
position.
You've never been like the good one.
Yeah, the one the one on the other side that everyone wants to lose, or like, but I've been cheered against, but that's like close, like people in close skill. But like this time, I was like, but I was still feeling good that it was a crowd, because again, I get that like anime feeling.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But I stubbornly go back to Dreamland, game 4, and I'm like, I hope this works, because I'm like, I know that his counter pick is probably Pokemon Stadium, so I'm fine with like, if I win on Dreamland, then at least I'm used to like a big stage, because I don't think he's going back to Battlefield or going Fountain. I think that's a blunder if he does that. So I kind of destroy him the 4th game, I remember. And again, I'm feeling like, okay, this is another last game. I'm feeling like the pressure in the air. Everyone's kind of.
What do you think changed in that game 4 then? Why do you think you destroyed him?
I just felt like I kind of got a lead, and then I ran away with it. And I think he was playing a little bit more impatiently too. Like especially when I got a lead and I started waiting for him. Like I feel like he kind of had that pressure, like again, assumption. But I have all of these assumptions in my head, which helps with my mentality. But I was feeling like he really wanted to win right there and then, but a little bit too much. Like he was getting like antsy. He was like feeling like the upset is about to happen. But yeah, he kind of just like ran in and then got hit. I remember finding hits really easily instead of him being hard to hit. That was like the main difference. But game 1, he takes an early lead, and once again it feels like he's really hard to kill. And it's like I'm feeling it kind of slowly like starting to slip away from me, and I'm kind of almost giving up in my head. Like almost. Like I'm almost, or I'm not really giving up. I'm not like being salty or anything. I'm still calm.
Yeah.
Super calm.
It's sort of like letting go. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm kind of like starting to accept that I'm probably gonna lose here, because Luigi has the lead on me, and I'm not clutch
Like
versus.
sort of the momentum is shifting so much out of your favor. Is that what you're sort of saying?
I'm not good at clutching versus like characters I'm unfamiliar with, or like And this is not to excuse, because Madness was probably also not experienced with Peach, and he was playing really well. Like he would, like I've beaten a lot of good Luigi players, and I have practiced versus Luigi. It's just I didn't have any confidence to like kind of outplay him in that kind of way. But basically, I get him down to like 2 stocks, and I'm at 2 stocks, but I have like 60%.
Okay. Yeah.
And then and then I pull a Stitch phase.
Oh wow.
And I noticed the crowd fucking gasps a little bit. I hear a little gasp. Then I pull the Stitch phase, and I'm just like dash dancing. I want him to be nervous. I want him to be nervous. I'm just dash dancing. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just like moving around. And then I like see my opportunity. I see him like moving in because he's like trying to make it awkward for me. But I see him flinch for 1 second. I throw the Stitch. He starts to panic because he just got hit by a Stitch. And I'm just like keep chasing him, and I'm like noticing he's being very predictable. So I take a whole stock with the Stitch. Like from 0% to death. And that's like the end of the Stitch. But like
that's not.
So I went from
You're
like
actually some like, what's it called? Didn't Armada say something? Do you remember when Armada used to say like he likes playing side by side with his opponent?
Yeah.
Because he like listened for his heart. Like he said that he could hear the heartbeat of his opponent and tell when they're nervous and something like that. So you said you saw Madness flinch like in his movement or something like that.
Yeah, like
That's
I
crazy.
felt it. I definitely felt that he was kind of panicking when he saw that I had the Stitch, and I was like moving around a little bit awkwardly. And I agree with Armada there. It's so good to have like the players side by side, because there's a completely different feeling. It's like you're playing against a human, and they have human emotions, and you can kind of manipulate that in a way.
Yeah.
But after that, he still like starts, like he still takes my stock, like from 60% to death. And we go like last stock, last hit, both at over 100%. And we're just we're just like going at it. We're like both spacing, both trying to get that one hit. He like whiffs a nair, I like whiff an upper, and eventually I get like a random nair, and he dies. And I like,
oh my god,
I didn't pop off. I was just like, because I'd already kind of accepted that I was like gonna lose a little bit.
You felt like you're gonna lose,
I was
that's
like
crazy.
I'd kind of like accepted it already, so I wasn't like excited. I was just relieved. So I remember like just like doing this, and then just like breathing a huge sigh of relief that I'm
tennis player. That's a tennis player motion.
That my like
the little like Serena Williams this part. But
because I knew that was my plot armor. That was not me. That was my fucking plot armor. It saved my ass.
Yeah.
So so I win that, and I'm like, I was like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, and I remember Yuo told me that he, when he went out drinking after the tournament, he met up with Madness, and both of them were like, like sagging over how they both are fucking robbed by me.
You turned 2 men to alcohol. You turned 2 men to the drink to console the feelings.
So I thought that was pretty funny that they got their like meeting afterwards, and like you got clutched on by Sharp too.
Because it was both like last stock.
Yeah, like, both were last stock situations, and like in floaty matches too. So it's like it's so tense because it's like that one neutral opening. But after that I move on to play Skullbro. And like that felt like such a relief, because Skullbro was not like, I was seated below Skullbro, which was I think that's fair, because I think you can
HFLAN, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's like our seeds are like, you can seed me above Skullbro or Skullbro above me. But the last 2 sets I had 3-0'd Skullbro. Although close games every time, I figured out a good game plan versus Skullbro, or like what I want to do. So it's like, if Skullbro wins, then he's probably just like playing really good, and I'm fine with that. And that's gonna be an epic set, because I've never been rolled over by Skullbro. It's always been like really close when he wins. And it's gonna be on stream too, so we're not gonna miss this one with the footage. Really sad, by the way, that the other 2 sets weren't like filmed by anyone, as far as I know. Um, but the Skullbro set, I remember clutching game 1 and 2, like pretty close, but I was just happy because I wasn't feeling as lost as the previous 2 sets. Like the previous 2 sets I was fending for myself out in the wilderness without any knowledge of my opponents. But Skullbro, I'd played him so many times.
Yeah.
I was feeling comfortable. I was sitting there.
Your experience. Yeah.
I was playing on stream. I was feeling good. And then the last game is like almost a 4-stock. And then he kind of breaks
Really
it back,
dominant,
but I'm not nervous. I start camping. He kind of starts like giving up a little bit, like start throwing out moves for no reason.
Yeah.
So I win that 3-0. So it felt great. And then, man, it feels like I'm talking so... I hope it's fine, by the way, that I'm just talking about my sets, because I had a lot of good sets.
No, it's safe. It's good because, like, what's it called? It's good because you were there and you obviously went so far, right?
Yeah.
So it's an insight to hear about your path this way. So
yeah, no, I felt
you
like...
don't really get the chance with a lot of other players. So.
No, yeah, just that... I feel like those sets, it's so sad that, like, no one will ever have seen them. Or, like, the people who have seen them, but there were so few people, especially the Euro set. I don't think anyone watched that. Like, only maybe 2 or 3 people. The Madness set is, like, the French people know about that one. Like, a lot of... Like, a little French... bubble was
contingent,
yeah, but it wasn't bubble. Like huge. It wasn't huge.
Do you ever remember, Sharp? Did you read, like, I don't know how many players did it. I remember Wobbles had a blog, but I don't know if he did this in particular. But Rishi, he had a blog, and he spoke about like a couple of tournaments that he went to.
Yeah, I've read that. The Evo one. The Evo one's really good.
I don't know if I even read the Evo one. Which Evo? Was this 2015 or 16?
I think this is the one
17,
where he beat Mewtwo King.
Oh, that was 18 even. That was the latest one, right? That's when
I'm pretty sure I read that one because I remember
because Rishi put Mewtwo King in losers, and then Swedish put Armada in losers.
Yeah.
So that's why they played super early, right?
Yeah, because I remember him writing about his S2J set, and it was really interesting. I have actually thought about, or I actually have thought about starting my own blog, like
writing a blog. Yeah, because that's what I was about to say. Like things like this where you talk about like your whole run.
Yeah.
People never even hear about this type of thing, right? Anymore, really.
Yeah.
Because there aren't a lot of people that do that. And before then, there was like those type of blogs, or like maybe if a top player gets invited on a podcast to talk about something. But yeah, it was I remember he wrote about Eden. Do you remember that tournament Eden, which I think
the one where like Cyrox did really well at?
I don't know if Cyrox is there. I remember Reeve beat SFAT. I don't know if you remember that.
I only remember I remember Ice being there for sure, and then I remember I think Cyrox had a pretty good run.
I don't know if Cyrox was a thing back then.
I think he was. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, Cyrox got 5th. It was like his breakout, I think.
Okay.
And then Ice got 2nd, Drug Fox won, SFAT got 3rd, Cancel got 4th, unfortunately.
Oh, Prof was there. Prof was there.
No, that means he did bad because he's not. I can't see.
Oh, he didn't even make top 8.
What the fuck? He got 17th.
Did he lose to? Who did he lose to? Did he lose to Cyrox? That'll be sad. He lost to Rishi and. He lost to Rishi and Kira. Okay, yeah, Kira was there.
That's I mean, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
I guess. 2 very good players. And this wasn't peak, Prof. This was losing to Ice every tournament, Prof.
Yeah, but it was also 2016, Prof. And 2016, Prof. I think it was like his peak. I think that was like his peak.
His peak is now. His peak is now.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but yeah.
Did you see him versus Meaty?
Yeah, actually.
Anyway, we're gonna get into that. I feel like I feel like it's gonna take a lot of time to talk about because I'm gonna talk about my own run, of course. Like the rest of it.
I think once we talk about your stuff, we can speed through the rest of it. But
yeah, okay, that sounds good. But anyway, moving on to the next set, I feel like this is the most interesting one I had on stream versus my fellow countryman Pipsqueak, which was really funny because Pipsqueak had just played against Abby Arv, who's also Swedish. If people didn't know that,
yeah,
and
I remember Pip said that he was really scared about playing Abby Arv because obviously he plays Falcon in that matchup, right?
Yeah,
and Abby Arv was is the math that he practices that matchup the most with.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
I remember their set. It was pretty close actually. Abiar took the
okay.
first game. I watched it like live.
It wasn't streamed, was it?
No, it wasn't streamed. It was an off
Yeah.
stream. Abiar took the first game. The second game's really close. The third game is really close too, I think, and the fourth game is like a 2-stock or something. But it was close
Okay.
nonetheless. But also, like as I mentioned before this trip, the only two people I'd ever lost to offline this year were Pipsqueak and Pep. So I had to play one of the two people who had like a 4-0 record on me. And like,
Yeah.
if you count the offline online sets, it's like 8-0 this year or something.
Yeah. It is Pipsqueak after all, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I also lost to him the tournament before this, the same finals, which I lost to Pipsqueak and
Yeah.
Vix.
Yeah. Double Fox, I remember.
So I was feeling zero nerves and zero pressure, and I was feeling great because I had just
Yeah.
plot armored 2 sets and I'd beaten Skullbro pretty badly. And I was like,
Yeah.
picking up a Skullbro win, that's dope. And not getting upset, that's also dope. And I'm just feeling good. So I went into that set with zero expectations and like zero pressure. And I was really only thinking about like my top 8 qualifier, which was probably gonna be versus Mahia, which I knew at the time too. Like
You had the idea that it was gonna be against Maya.
because I even when I saw the seeding, I thought that Meaty would beat him in the Ditto,
Okay.
and then I saw Meaty beat him before the match as
Yeah,
well.
I
in
remember.
Pitsweek.
I remember.
So and then it was like between him, unless like Bomboni beat him, which I think like it was a chance, but I think I was like expecting Mahi to win that. But regardless, like the thing was, I wasn't even thinking about the Pipsqueak set as a set I wanted to win, or a set I like prepped for a ton. The only way I prepped for it was that I played him a lot at the locals, so I know how he likes to play, and also I got a lot of tips from him on how to play versus Fox, and I like practice versus Fox in general. So I was like, okay. So I do something like really strange the first game, which is I start on Yoshi's, which is like
Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah.
that was my pick of like I want to try something different. I've started on Battlefield like every single game, and
Yeah.
I feel like this is like a stage where I can win. Like I'm pretty good on Yoshi's, and it's like it's in my eyes it's an RNG stage because Peach dies really early, but Fox can also die really early. So it's like it's spinning the wheel basically, the wheel of fortune, and
That's an interesting way of seeing it, I'll be honest. I think most people don't see it that way. I think they definitely feel the what's it called? The advantage weighs towards one character more than the other. But I guess that sort of makes sense. Like if it's a small space like that, things can get hectic, right?
I feel like it's such a small difference from Battlefield that it genuinely doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's just that
That's
Battlefield, I feel good on Battlefield. I feel comfortable, but it's also a stage which favors the better player more than like Yoshi's does, because Yoshi's it's hard to like set up your game plan as quickly, in my opinion.
Okay.
But
That's
the wheel of fortune was in my favor, and I managed to take game 1. I played really well, and Pipsqueak kind of like I found a lot of openings on Pipsqueak, and I played very patient. So I like already I'm like damn. But going into the second game, yeah, I was like I wasn't even like super excited about it. I was like damn, I took a game, let's go.
Nice. Yeah.
So the second game we play on Pokemon. I never expect to win there. Like maybe random chance I might win there, like if I'm playing super good, but I didn't play like exceptionally, and Pipsqueak was playing his normal game plan and he won, and I was like okay, whatever, it's the counter pick, you lose there usually. Stadium is also a really brutal counter pick, especially without transformations, IMO. Because it's just Fox can run away and you can't really do anything about that.
True story. No.
The third game, I've counterpicked to FOD because Pipsqueak, well, he showed that he did well on Pokemon, so he's gonna do well with running away. And
On larger
also,
stages, yeah.
he's always done well versus me on FD. Like even when I was like when I had a chance versus him at our early days, when we both were like when I was beating him like back in the PAL days, I took sets from him every now and then. Even then I wasn't good on FD, but I'm pretty notoriously bad at the chain grab, even though I practice it, especially in high pressure situations. So I was
that makes more sense.
So I kind of never pick FD against him. And Dreamland is like, he's playing good on a big stage, like playing good on Stadium. So let's just try FOD instead. It's a pretty consistent counter pick. It's pretty good. And then he almost four stocks me. He like destroys me. He like runs me over, which is the classic, the classic for Pipsqueak, which he just randomly does sometimes versus me. Which I'm not surprised. I'm like, okay, the set is over now. Like Pipsqueak is playing good finally. He's like finally started to adapt. And I take a stock, but he still three stocks me. Right? It's like what can I do? When Pipsqueak is like a top, in my opinion, like a top 30 player in the world. And sometimes he just turns up, and like his punish game is better than mine, his neutral is better than mine, and once it combines, it's unstoppable. But I'm calm. I'm like, again, like I'm gonna keep trying, and I still have a few more minutes of enjoyment of that set. So I picked Battlefield because I'm like I do pretty well on Battlefield versus Pipsqueak, and I don't want to go back on FOD because I got like kind of destroyed. And then I noted my other reasons for not picking the big stages. So I just go to Battlefield, and I think I get a lead. Or no, the first stock, I get Battlefielded.
Did that actually happen? That's nuts.
I up B.
I remember.
B and I drift into the ledge, and I don't grab the ledge, and I die, and I laugh to myself.
Oh, I think I remember this.
And I'm like, this is the silliest way to go out, but I'm dumb. So I just keep playing. I'm doing pretty well. I get a pretty big punish on like his second stock. I'm like, okay, so it's even suddenly. I get Battlefielded at 0 or like at 10 on the first stock, and then I make it even. I'm like, damn. And I kind of think to myself, I'm playing pretty well. I'm doing pretty well. Let's go, Sharp. And then he immediately takes the stock after I have that thought.
Typical. Classic.
So it's 2 stocks to 1, and I think of the Armada meditation that he did on Leffen before he four stocked him. I think about that, and I'm like, so I take a deep breath. I close my eyes. I think they say on commentary too that I did like a little meditation moment.
They said that. Wow,
I think so. Yeah,
that's a good commentary. That's a good call.
Yeah,
they noticed that.
Yeah, that's really funny actually. But I start like chasing him down. I take a stock. It's his last stock, and I'm like, I'm feeling no nerves. I'm not nervous that it's last stock. I'm not nervous that it's my last game. I'm just playing, and then I'm noticing that Pipsqueak is getting nervous, and I'm like, what the heck?
How do you notice? What, from his
because
movement?
Because he's
side by
like,
side, right?
Because he's playing like a nervous person. He's like spot dodging. He's like doing weird stuff. He's like not moving correctly. I'm like, no, this is not Pipsqueak movement. He's like not moving with any confidence whatsoever. He's like definitely scared. And then I'm doing like jab down smash, and it's working, and I'm like, yeah, this is, I can win this. Why is he so nervous? Why is he scared of me? He's like beating me every time. He shouldn't be scared of me. And then I just start like getting him a disadvantage. He's like panicking. He's like doing like super obvious stuff. And then I get a few hits, and he just dies. And I'm like, this is actually game 5 versus Pipsqueak.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really, like, I'm like thinking
You're
in my
feeling
head,
the
like
wave
I'm
now.
really proud of myself that I got to this point of the set, because again, like every set we play in the past like 3 years has been like 3-0 3-1 for Pipsqueak. So it's the first game 5 I've gotten in
Wow,
actually years.
that's
Um,
nuts. That is
yeah.
actually crazy. That,
So we go into the last game and he picks Yoshi's. He doesn't want to pick FD or Dreamland, and I'm like,
Mhm.
I can win this, because as I said, Yoshi's is like a spinning a wheel. It's like I could randomly win this, and I take the first stock actually, and I'm like,
yeah,
what the
I
fuck is?
remember.
I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, I'm actually winning. Let's go.
Yeah, do you feel like you sort of felt that? Do you feel like the nerves really hit you hard at any point, or
It's
were
actually
you just like waving,
it's
riding the wave of like,
it's quite the opposite. Once I felt that, I'm like, I'm pumped. I'm like feeling
hey,
motivation to like
yeah,
play, to like do well. I'm like not playing sloppy, but he
yeah,
actually he like gets the stock. He evens it up at two stocks to two, and
okay,
it's like and then he gets like an early upper kill. But I'm like,
hmm
I'm still like pumped that the set is so close, because not necessarily because I thought I was gonna win or that I thought that I could win, but because I managed to kind of at least like poke at Pipsqueak's feet, like kind of claw my way up there and like show
yeah,
that I'm getting there. Like he's like close to the top of the mountain, but he finally like saw me. He like looked down and he saw me like
yeah.
climb up through the mist, like
You can
behind
feel
him.
you tugging at his like trousers at the end of his
Yeah,
trousers or something.
and like
Yeah,
I never want to feel like when he goes to the Stockholm local that like he can beat everyone for free, and that like no
yeah,
one's tryharding, and it's like too like I hate when someone feels lonely about being the only competitor. So I kind of wanted to
yeah.
I felt good that I showed him that like there are other people too that are like trying to.
That is so sick.
Yeah, so I get him down to the last dock, and once again he is panicking. But then he stops panicking. Like there's a definite point where I can go back and watch the set, and there's a point where he stops panicking, and he's like
Okay.
gets to center stage, and he just starts walling me out, and he's like
hmm
he's not leaving his spot. He's like not falling for anything easy. He's like waiting for me to commit. For like I'm like noticing that, and I'm like, okay, well, this is hard now. Suddenly,
Became a lot harder.
yeah,
Yeah,
like he is forcing me to make the decision, and I'm not sure if I'm a good enough player right now to make that decision to win. But then
yeah.
again, I was thinking to myself, but then again, maybe I can make something work.
Mhm.
So eventually, it's really close. It's like basically last hit, but he gets me off stage, and then he gets an upper, and kills me like a call out. I think I
Yeah.
spaced a little bit incorrectly, and he found that. So like I remember, if you
Crazy.
look
The
at the
top air
VOD,
defense mechanism kicked in.
and again, I'm not feeling bad about that set at all. I'm really happy afterwards. I'm like going off. You don't see it because I have the mask, but I have a big smile on my face.
Yeah,
Like, and I
yeah.
like tell him GG's man, that was fun. And then I like
It's
stretch out my
actually,
fist, and then he's sitting there like, oh my god.
yeah, yeah, understandable relief to be honest. But yeah, it sort of feels like a trend, like a reoccurring theme in like your bracket where, those sets where you went in with no sort of expectation for yourself, or you feel like at peace with how you're going to do, is
Yeah,
where you really sort of where you really like showed up and did well,
yeah,
like subverted expectations. So
yeah.
that's really interesting.
It was really cool. It was
Feels
definitely
like
like,
a
sorry.
What were you gonna say? No, I was just gonna say it sounds like a big like mentality thing as well.
Yeah, no,
So,
I was about to say it felt like a mentality roller coaster, or like my mentality was
yeah.
always good. It was never bad. It was never like I was never tilted. At no point in any of the sets was I tilted. I was never sad. I was like always trying my best to win, and I was like trying my best to figure out solutions. And even when I came at peace of losing, that never meant that I gave up. Like I was always like trying my
Yeah.
best. But
was
like I
all
was
just
only
up
like
to
trying
grab.
to make peace with the alternative timeline that could happen where I lose.
Mhm.
And I'm like trying to think like this is okay if it happens. It is fine. You don't need to be worried about it.
And I'm wondering, like, do you feel like that's something you developed, like, over the past, the online time where you said your mentality got better, and is that something that you've taken the time to think about beyond your sets, or is it mostly just in that moment where you've been presented with a threat to your bracket run that you sort of have been telling yourself a lot more, oh, it's okay if I lose this now?
All of it is a combination of like my 6 years of experience, but basically
Okay.
it is a combination of attending a shit ton of tournaments in general.
Yeah.
Like in 2018, if we looked at like the local attendance, I had by far the most attended tournaments in Sweden. Like I had like 72 tournaments in a year or something. Um, and I was probably at the top of Europe as well.
And
Um,
that's offline tournaments.
yeah, offline
Okay.
tournaments, which includes like locals and like regionals. And
72, that's a lot.
I didn't travel outside of Sweden basically almost at all. Um, but I have a crap ton of like offline tournament experience, so I'm not like unfamiliar to any of the concepts like crowds or the feelings you get in your heart when it gets close. Like I feel like that's the thing that I like learned the most. Like just enjoying that feeling when everything else is on the line and you feel that like tension in the air and it's like last stock and both of you are like sweating, you're like holding your controller really tight. I like learned to enjoy that feeling
I
so
think
badly.
I actually think that is the one of the best feelings about Melee. I
Yeah,
think that is part of the reason why Melee is so worth playing. Like beyond, like I know a lot of people enjoy playing friendlies and like coming to tournaments to have fun, but I literally think like the thing that keeps everyone there is the thrill of competition when it comes to like tournament Melee, because that is just it feels like you know the way I've sort of like verbalized in the past is like it sort of feels like everything is like leading up to that moment. It's sort
yeah,
of like training for a boxing match. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And
exactly. It's like
the boxing match, the rush of that moment is like everything when it comes to the experience. And
yeah,
you also don't have to like get beat up and everything. You just play a
you,
video game.
nothing fucking beats that feeling, especially offline tournaments.
Yeah,
It's nothing even compares to it, in my opinion. But
yeah,
yeah, it's that all of that experience combined with like, I think the online tournaments definitely helped to like, because I've never been as much of a tilter and rager as I was in 2020 when I played online Melee, because like it's so you have to kind of confront yourself in that moment when you're sitting by yourself. It's only you and it's only your computer. You can't see anyone else. There's no human. You can only see the
yeah.
gameplay. And
There's no
how
social pressure to be like a
yeah,
put together person who doesn't show like extreme emotions. You're just by yourself, so you can behave whatever way you want.
yeah,
I feel that as well. Like I don't know why when I first started playing in that play, I think I don't really feel it that much anymore. But when I first, maybe even for like a couple of years after first started playing net play, like I was, I've never really been more tilted than at melee than those
yeah,
couple of
no.
years. You know what I mean? I think it's the same for everyone actually. Like no one's really. It's sort of a surprise to yourself as well. Like even though those emotions are coming straight from you, you never really expect yourself to feel that way.
Yeah,
You know?
no, and
So
like I was never really a tilter before that. Like of course I've tilted a lot of times. Like before that, um, but I never like thrown a controller or whatever. I'm not that kind of player. But like a lot of the times you hold back your sadness or your tilt, but there wasn't really a reason for me to hold anything back um, when I started playing online. So like I remember that's when everything came out, like all of those like especially and combine that like the no you I don't hold anything back with the fact that I had huge expectations on myself. Um, like I was ranked in 2019, so like people expected me to be like a top 50 European player and like beat all these new players, and I hadn't really and combine that with the fact that I hadn't been able to solo practice for so long, so like my gameplay was definitely subpar, and I was trying to reinvent my gameplay as well, because in Ireland I didn't have a setup like for myself. I had my buddy Bass's setup, but like I only played with him, and I only played like every now and then instead of like every day, which I did otherwise when I had my own. So like couple like being a worse player with trying to figure out being a different kind of player and having high expectations and having the salt gates like completely open, and that made me into a huge rager. Like I lost people I wasn't supposed to, and I remember I hit myself like on the leg when I lost. I'm not, and I was always ashamed of it. I was so ashamed of it. But I was like, it was so hard to control my feelings, and like it was definitely really rough for me to play online at the time. But it also like taught me how to kind of like think about Melee and how to cope with those feelings and how to like come to terms with those feelings. And that's kind of what given me the like ability to like accept a loss like a lot better in my head and like be okay with losing, and because it like realizing how little it matters if you win or lose. And like
I feel like it's sort of like an experience that a lot, like I was saying, just a lot of people, especially when they brought to like that first real serious salt that they have, it's like it becomes like you would go through that arc of slowly becoming more accepting. Some people don't go through that arc, you know, and this just becomes more of a long-term thing where they're stuck with those negative feelings. It's really hard to get out of it, you know.
For sure.
But sort of like
that's kind of what online taught me, because I had to confront those feelings and accept them. So I went through the like, what is
and work through them as well.
The 5 stages of grief or whatever. First, like denial. I'm not a salter. I'm not gonna salt next time. And, like bargaining.
A lot of people get stuck in denial.
Maybe I'll just hit myself a little bit. The depression, and then I went through I definitely went through the depression arc many times. And then finally acceptance. But not to say I have a perfect mentality. That's far from true. But I definitely have one of the best mentalities for competing in all of Europe, in my opinion.
That's a solid claim. I feel like you have the right to make that statement.
Like maybe it's a flex, but I feel like it's the truth, and I'm happy about feeling that. I'm really proud of it. So I mean,
if it helps your mentality to say that as well, like it's just you're just like on the next level because you're doing more things that would help your mentality by complementing your mentality. So
someone can fucking clip this and then add it in a side by side with me like throwing my controller in the future or something.
Shut off rage compilation.
They can do that if they want, but I don't care. Right now I'm in a really good spot when it comes to mentality.
That's great.
That's probably not going to change.
That's great.
Moving on to the tournament again, just to finish off my journey. My beats Bomboni. It's a pretty good set, but I definitely had the better punish game and just like I just played really well, which I was definitely impressed because like that's a matchup which like especially he's still playing on the box, which like definitely he's been a little bit more inconsistent on the box, although he has really good wins, especially on the Fox players. So I expected that he might lose to Bomboni because Bomboni is an absolutely amazing player.
But especially Falcon Marth can be a hard matchup. But I feel like Maya is just such a. For one, he will have a lot of experience in this matchup, right? Because before.
The Jagov.
He has Yeah, exactly. I was thinking Jagov before online started, but I actually second guessed myself because I don't know if there are many online. Wait, where's? I don't think he is French, but where's KL6 from? Is he Norwegian, maybe? I don't know.
Not Norwegian.
I'm trying to think. Not Norwegian.
Yeah, I think he is French.
Really?
I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I do. That's my like. What my gut's telling me.
Yeah, I think I'm
Um,
thinking maybe he is. Yeah, that's where
yeah,
my mind first went to. But yeah, so he's also such a like so experienced when it comes to neutral. And
yeah,
in that matchup, if you just like apply yourself to certain good ranges, then Falcon can only really like he has a big blind spot, right?
yeah.
So Maya will be knowledgeable when it comes to playing around that.
Mm-hmm.
And Bomboni as well. Does he have much math experience in the UK? We used to have like a lot of really
You have a lot
experienced
of
top
mid-level
markers. But
Mars.
yeah, now we have we have like a lot of middle. I mean, before we had a lot of people who were trying to get good at the Falcon matchup as well.
Yeah.
So we had uh Aiken, who actually did like analysis to try and beat Fetchy. He was like aiming high, that guy, because Fetchy was in the same city as him ultimately.
Ah,
You
okay,
know, they
okay,
were
that makes
both in
sense.
Bristol.
Makes sense.
But, and Brand Speed as well had Ryan S, who was like a 50, I think he was like 15 or 16 on UKPR, but he just like dominated London for a long stretch as well.
I can
So
imagine.
Mongoni did have some sort of like math threats in before lockdown, but over online I don't really think those have really existed anymore, and currently much less so as well. So
I can imagine though that
yeah,
my has like uh, Falcon experience just from like being like an old school European. Like
yeah,
considering they
he's
used to
been
have
here for
like
so long.
they used to have Jappy at the top for a little bit, like the
Yeah.
top 20, the top 15. I don't
Mhm.
know. They
Yeah,
also
Jack
had
was definitely a top player.
they had like a Sverre who was like attended a lot of tournaments. So
Mhm.
there has been a few top Falcons that he's probably had a few
Fuzzy as
run-ins with.
well. I think you probably had some run-ins with Fuzzy, right?
Yeah,
No,
Fuzzy
actually, I
too,
remember.
Fuzzy too.
I remember he told a story. Okay, there are so many tangents in this episode, so
Yeah, no,
why not
let's
throw another
go.
one in? But like, I think I don't know if Maye went to UK in like 2000 and it's not, it's like 2009 or 2008 or something like this. Um, or maybe Fuzzy went to France. But either way, I think Maya was in the UK for Smash Needs You, which I think was around 2009, 2010, maybe 2011. But no, it was okay. I'm mixing up the story because Fuzzy went to France because he played on Maya's setup, and on
Ah,
Maya's setup, he was playing like 50 hertz or something like this, and then Fuzzy was like, "Oh, what's this? Like, this is 50 hertz. Like, this plays so badly." And Maya had no idea what it was, so he sort of like adjusted it afterwards.
no, no.
So yeah, that's a maybe a little window into why he might have a little bit of old school Falcon experience. But yeah, it's definitely something he's been playing since 2007 or 2000, like a long time basically.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, he'll have some old tricks, and that blind spot thing, the basic neutral thing, is like a fundamental thing about the matchup that has been
yeah.
known for a long time. So
But regardless, he
yeah,
did take out Bomboni. He also took out Tommy N.
yep.
Tommy N had a little bit of a run himself. Just gonna quickly mention that
Oh wow, yeah, he
Tommy N
did.
took
I'm
out
looking at it
Verdant
now.
and Baxon. Baxon was on a wave bird, but that set
Yeah,
was pretty good regardless. Um, so I mean, taking out a Puff and a Falcon, that's always a good sign for a Marth. But he had to face me, and we've had a little bit of a history. Um, he beat me once
so
or
this is.
twice.
I feel like this might be a little bit of a change because you've been doing really well against Marths recently, and I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
you were confident when I like messaged you, I guess, to ask you how you're feeling about my
for
or
sure.
in Severs.
Yeah,
But
I was confident because
so do you feel like that was a mentality change for you compared to the previous sets? Because you were sort of saying how, you accepted if you weren't going to make it, and you were ready to, you're accepting of the possibility in which you lost.
yeah.
But do you feel like to make it into top eight in a matchup you felt really well experienced in, do you feel like that was a change for you?
So I can just like give a quick explanation of like how I feel versus Marth.
Yeah.
Marth was a demon for me for like years and years and years, especially because of May beating me like every
Well,
local, like especially I beat May in 2017, 2016, but then she started beating me in 2018 like almost every time, and then I won a set in 2018 and then moved away from my city, which I lived in to study. And then after that, I never won against her again. After like late 2018, um, And then when I moved to Skövde, which is a city close to Gothenburg, I went to the Gothenburg tournaments, and eventually Meaty started beating me, like after a very short while. And then Meaty was beating me at like every time, like usually game 5. And Ikim was
This was in his what's this tag back then? Mjarkunen or something like this.
Mjödkungen,
Yeah.
which is like Mead King,
Yeah.
translated. But Meaty was beating me every time, and Ikim was also beating me every time. And when I went off online, Mackenzie beat me pretty badly in 2020, when Larster beat Mackenzie, and Mahi beat me pretty badly the time we played. And then I lost to Yogurt in early 2021 in pools. So you could say I had a little bit of a Marth problem. I lost like every single Marth that you can think of, probably.
And then you sort of had a somewhat of a streak of losing to Media as well, right?
Yeah, like Meaty beat me like when I started net playing in 2020. He beat me every time in 2020, which was like 5 times or something. Almost all of them game 5 again.
Did that stretch into 2021 as well?
2021 he beat me at a Levo, and he beat me at two Levos early 2021 actually. But I remember I was feeling frustrated about the Marth matchup, because I was like, I'm so bad at this matchup, like compared to how good I could be. And like I understand a lot of things about the matchup, but I want to be so good at it that the Marths are actually scared of me instead of the opposite. So the straw that broke the camel's back was when Abby Arv, who I beat like consistently, started beating me every time, and I felt like this is the same thing that happened with May, and the same thing that happened with Meaty, and I'm so fucking tired.
No one was gonna overtake you now.
Yeah, I'm so tired of all the Marths beating me. How the fuck do I beat this character? I'm so mad. So I paid Armada to analyze Peach Marth versus me.
Oh wow!
And Armada gave me a bunch of tips, and I studied.
I didn't know this.
I actually studied with May as well, and then I like hard grinded Marth for a while, and then I actually tweeted. I remember this tweet. This was like before, when I was still in the Marth slump. I was like, it was like after a tournament. I was like, another game 5 versus Abby Arv. I'm disappointed. I want to get better versus Marth. I feel like this is a mental block as well. As soon as I beat one of the Marths, I feel like I'll beat all of them. So
I think I vaguely remember this tweet.
So I did.
That's a very ominous sounding tweet.
Yeah. So I played Abiarv at like a random Russian local, and we have like another game 5 with, like set in winners finals, and then I like barely lose again, and I'm like, okay, I guess. Well, I'm not. Am I supposed to be bad? I'm not mad. Like, this is what happens every time, right?
Yeah, for real.
That was like my 6th loss in a row to Abby Arv. And I was like, and I played in losers finals. I played against Sila, the Sheik, and I'm just like playing, and I'm like a little bit mad, but I do pretty well. And I get back to grands, and I like we have the craziest grand finals of all time, and I win game 10, like game 5 first set, game 5 second set. So that's like the first time I break the streak. And then after that,
so sick,
after that, I reversed 3-0 Meaty at Tigla, the Irish tournament.
I remember that.
Which is the first time I beat Meaty in 3 years. And then after that, that's when I played
Which was a very emotional stream, by the way. It was actually crazy.
I started crying after that. It was
I remember.
I was literally a pixel away from losing, or like a frame away from losing. If I dash attacked one frame.
So like close. The fact that you reversed 3-0 as well, it was so. I don't. As a viewer, like it was such compelling viewing. So I can't even imagine how you must have felt. The fact that you released your emotions in that way, it sort of makes sense.
I keep having these fucking roller coasters of sets in tournament. But I won against Meaty, and then I played at a tournament with Maye, And I remember the TO told me that he was scared of me, scared of playing me.
Wait, was this an online tournament?
An online event, yeah. One of the one of the fucking random Monday tournaments. And then I actually lose to Kingu's Fox at that tournament, and I'm like in winner semis, and then Kingu loses like a heartbreaker game 5 versus Maya in the winners finals, and then I win versus Kingu, like the worst set of all time in losers finals, but I still win. We had very shitty sets in Peach Fox that day. That was also the day where Kingu switched full time to Fox versus Peach. And then I played Mahi in grand finals, and I beat him really badly. Like 3-1 both sets, but it's like, I'm kind of, like, I'm not even, like, it's not looking close at all. Like, I'm just, like, comboing him, like, 2 stocks, 3 stock, 2 stock. So I remember I beat him really badly, and then he told me, this is not a call-out, by the way, I know how it is. But he told me, like, oh, I had to wait a long time for grand finals. And I get it. It's an online tournament.
Yeah.
But I still felt like I was the better player in that set.
Yeah, definitely. No, you should feel that way.
Yeah, but after that, I was like, and then after that, I beat Meaty offline, and I beat Ekim at the local we played before. So I was like, I figured out Marv. That's how I felt. Or like that's a terrible thing to think, because then karma always bites you in the ass. But I'm like I'm feeling it in a very wholesome way. At least in my eyes, because I was like, I finally like conquered my demon, and now whenever I play against Marv, if I lose, it's not because of a mental block. It's because I lost, I got outplayed, right? It's like, of course,
for sure,
having a mental block is no excuse.
You were in a good place mentally when it comes to the matchup. I
was like, I wasn't pissing my pants every time I play a Marv. It's like I was the one that makes them scared.
I can imagine that would be quite convenient. Yeah, inconvenient.
But yeah, I played that set. I remember we had a really cool set in losers top 8 qualifiers. He takes game 1 with a 2 stock. I take one like game 2 like barely on Dreamland. It's really close. It's like last stock, last hit. Game 3 was the craziest game of all time, and I'm so sad it wasn't recorded, because I have a lead. I have like a 2 or 3 stock lead, like 2 or 3 stocks to 1. He makes a comeback. He like I start getting like a little bit too antsy. I really want to win, because that's the only set I was like really nervous in, like really nervous, because I wanted to get top 8 so bad. I'd never gotten a top 8 at a major or like a big European tournament ever. Like even the bigger Swedish events, I never got top 8. So I kind of get antsy. I like start swinging. I'm like hoping I get a forwarder or something, and then he makes a comeback, and then we're at last stock. He gets like combos me across the stage, gets a king combo, and and as soon as he gets the king combo, the French crowd I noticed throughout the set that they were starting to gather, right? And they all popped off, like, let's go! And then
I can imagine that. I can imagine how
the craziest thing was that I had saved my float, and I was at mid%, so I float on the exact, like, the perfect timing, where I barely survive. It's like so close to dying, like being too low.
Wait, what stage is it?
Pokemon Stadium.
Okay.
Maya's counterpick, and we're 1-1. So I barely was able to float, like right before I died, because if I floated too low, you have to to float there, you have to wiggle out of hit stun. You have to find the like perfect frame to wiggle out, and then you have to hold down and float. And if you do it too late, you can't up B. You won't be, and like the downer has a lot of knockdown, and like I was at mid%, so I barely, like so close, was able to float and then up B. Maya is scrambling to like hit me because he thought it was over, I think. He's like scrambling to
it becomes even worse because the whole crowd like affirms
there's like an audible gasp. There's
an
audible gasp when I up B, and he down tilts really close to ledge because he like wants to hit me off. But the down tilt and the up B like trade So he gets knocked away a little bit, and that's like the gasp. And then I grab ledge, and I'm like, it's on. And since he got knocked
How
away,
can you win this game? You actually win this game? Wait, go on.
so,
Sorry.
because I'm at mid%, I like get up quick, and he is like, he's knocked down, so he wasn't able to like ledge trap me. So I start chasing him around the stage. He's at high percent, and I'm noticing he's so scared.
Yeah.
I like notice it, like if I just chase him here, I'll win. So I like start like spamming the float nairs on the ground, and eventually he like starts shielding. He like doesn't know where to go, and I notice he isn't able to get his footing, and then I eventually just get him with a nair. It's like the worst DI of all time.
Wow.
And my crowd pops up. Like I have a few homies in the back
You had a
too.
crowd as well. You had a counter crowd.
I had
That's scary.
Faltenel. I had a few of the gays. They had their meetup pretty close.
Yeah.
So I barely like I plot armored that game into winning it. I remember I was like, yes.
Nice. Yeah.
So that was like the hypest game in my eyes of the tournament, because it's like I shouldn't have won there for sure.
Yeah.
There's no way I should have won
Crazy.
there. No one else
The fact
wins
that you
there.
have like two battling crowds watching this like
Yeah, it was like
shock result is like crazy as well.
it was like all of France, which was like the majority of it was like 70 or 80% of the crowd versus the sharp fans, which were like
Shot squad.
the sharp squad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, he wins game 4 on Pokemon. It's like really close. It's like last hit, but I'm feeling it. I'm just hyped that it's another game 5. I'm feeling the tension in the air, and like the crowd again. I'm feeling good that it's like such an important set. But then like last game, I'm like I lose the first stock, but I'm not nervous at all. Again, I'm like so confident. I'm like, I'm just gonna run over there, and he's not gonna be prepared for me. He's not. He's not gonna be able to handle it. So I take like 3 stocks in a row. So it's like 3 stocks to 1, and then that's when I start getting nervous. And he started making a little bit of a comeback, but it's still like a two stock win, and I pop off because it's like I was so happy that I finally made top 8.
Yeah. And I remember seeing the pop off. The pop off was recorded.
Yeah, the
So
pop
I
off
think
was recorded. It's a good
was it
pop off.
Jin or someone? I remember Jin said on commentary that he had a recording, but I saw a recording that Kingu posted in the Discord.
It's
I don't know who recorded that though.
It was one of the people who took photos and videos of the event.
Okay.
Or
So was it in the like HFLAN Discord? I guess someone posted
yeah,
it.
exactly.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm not in there, but I'm
Anyway,
assuming that all of that was posted. But yeah.
after that, I was happy. I was pretty much mentally done with the event. Rix had lost to Max in a crazy reverse 3-0.
Yeah, I heard about this. Yeah.
So Rix went on a little bit of a loser's run. He beat Faltenel 3-0. He beat Lunary, who had a crazy run of his own, 3-2. And then
Roll didn't Lunary. Who else did he beat? Was it Roll was the main standout one in my head.
Lunary beat Roll and Baxon.
Okay. Yeah.
But then I played Rix in top 8 because of that. I was supposed to play Max. But Rix again has been a little bit of a demon for me, one of the demon Fox players. We have a pretty okay set, but he's clearly the better player in that set. So I was fine. As I said, I was pretty mentally done with the brackets. Like I didn't care how it went after that. Like I wanted to get top 8, and that was my big thing.
I can imagine you would have been a bit exhausted by then as well.
I was pretty exhausted. After playing that Mahe set, I had to play Rix like 30 minutes after that, something like that.
Wow. Okay.
So I didn't get much of a. It wasn't like a
big break before top 8 like people usually do.
Yeah, I had to play very soon after that. But overall, I was like extremely happy about my performance. As I said, I was my first top 8 ever, and like just having all of those like amazing sets was like it made the fucking weekend for me. So yeah,
of course.
I mean, that's about it for my run. I went on a fucking
Yeah, we even talk
super
about this.
long tangent.
How long has this been? I actually don't have the
Two
stream up, so I can't
hours,
tell.
30 minutes.
2 hours, 30 minutes as well.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It hasn't felt like it for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm finally done talking about myself. My
Sick.
ego has been satisfied. I thank everyone.
No, it was good. It was a deep dive into like you never like I was saying, like you don't really get this perspective from like a top player. Like they don't just talk about it
yeah,
like
no.
in that much depth. Or maybe like on if they're on their stream, they'll talk about like a little small details that they can fit out, like they can talk about in the middle of playing melee or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I
Wait, what are people saying in the
definitely.
chat? They're talking about short hop pair.
Yeah,
But
we can
yeah,
we can
sorry,
talk
what were
about
you
that.
saying?
No, I definitely felt like a little bit of a protagonist that weekend.
No, definitely.
But
Yeah.
I can talk a little bit about a few more like notable runs. I already noted Rick's had a little
Yeah, and
bit
the
of
rest of the
a
tournament.
losers run. Got fifth. Did pretty okay, but it's nothing stand out for him. I think he's a pretty established top player by now in Europe.
Yeah.
Um,
Game 5 with Media as well.
yeah.
So after Media got absolutely he got danced on by Prof in the last game on FD.
Yeah,
And
that's all the UK got. That's definitely
yeah,
all the UK got. But
yeah.
before we talk about Meaty, I think we can just quickly go over Max, who
Sure.
did
Yeah.
pretty well. I mean, we already know that he got second, a beating role at the
The Paris
pre-local.
Weekly FSP.
Yeah, and he had an amazing reverse 3-0 versus Riggs. I recommend anyone to watch that set. It's a fantastic set. You just search Frank the
Also,
Fisher
what
versus
stream?
Riggs. It's the SylpheGaming.
On SylpheGaming stream, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And then Max only lost to Prof and Prof and Frenzy, funnily enough.
Yeah, UK team kill. Wow.
But he also beat Roll again on the way there.
Yeah, 3-0 in losers.
Yeah, so he definitely kind of smacked on Roll a little bit that weekend. But otherwise, Frenzy had a little bit of a sad tournament for him. Frenzy's known as a little bit inconsistent, for sure, in general. He beat Bomboni and then had to play Meaty, who's beaten him before twice, I think. But he beat Meaty the last few times. Meaty's been kind of performing below average for his results.
Yeah, especially recently, right? The Smash World Tour result is sort of like was quite shocking for him. I'd say
Smash World Tour, he didn't take a game. Every player was good, but it's like you expect him to go even and probably win versus like Tino.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, the Tino set was surprising that he lost in that kind of way, and like he didn't look good versus Triff. He's brought to game 5. But this was definitely a redemption for Meaty. Meaty getting his revenge versus Frenzy from previous sets they've had and beating a 3-2 with a reverse 3.
Yeah, I remember watching that. I was super close. Like
3-stock comeback the last game.
Yeah, the Frenzy was not happy about that.
Frenzy choked the bag for sure.
100%, I'd say. But yeah, I don't want to sound like a salty UK fan, but yeah.
No, I was cheering for Meaty. Meaty also beat Manier,
understandably.
who Meaty also took out at the same finals.
Oh yeah, okay.
And then Meaty versus Prof was such a fucking blowout. Prof definitely styled on Meaty a little bit, which is probably a good learning experience for Meaty. I think he's gonna focus on the Prof sets and the Pipsqueak sets and like the big top players now. But he also beat Rix on the way there. He got a little bit bodied by Kinzo as well, but for 4th place, which was fantastic. He's gonna make some big bucks when he gets the payout, which by the way I haven't yet. Please, I need money.
Oh, it was full top 8 payout.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But Kinzo also beat him pretty badly at Smash World Tour, so maybe that's an opponent he's got to focus on. But good performance by Meaty. Beating Mahe, Frenzy, and Rix. That's a huge dub for him. And other notable standout performance was Kinzo, of course, getting second to Pipsqueak. Who won, by the way? Let's fucking go, Sweden.
Shout out to Pipsqueak. It looks like I don't know. Kinzo looked very promising.
Kinzo reverse 3-0 Frenzy.
Yeah.
Beat Meaty.
In general, he seemed like he was having a really good day.
Yeah.
So yeah, he looks really solid. I mean, and he wasn't. I mean, it sort of shows like, even with that, like Pipsqueak is just so beyond a lot of players.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he has lost to Kinzo in the past. I think it was quite recently. I forgot what online tournament it was.
It was Bagarre.
Oh yeah, of course. And that was like the last same event before same finale, right?
It was. Yeah.
Or was there something?
Was.
Yeah. Okay. So it was quite recent, but even with Kinzo playing so on fire as he was, you know,
Pipsqueak was more on fire.
Snuffed out that flame. Yeah.
By the way, Pipsqueak only had one Game 5 set.
Game 5 set versus
yours truly.
I wonder who.
The only one.
Maybe someone on that side of the screen. Yeah.
That would. The only one being close to beat Pipsqueak is the person he consistently fucks up at the locals.
Yeah.
Which is really funny to think about. But that was a good flex for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Pipsqueak had a fantastic tournament, beating Abiarv, me, Kinzo, and then beating Prof again. He's been Prof so many times in a row now. And beating Kinzo again in grand finals. Didn't get to play Frenzy, but if you look at their Smash World Tour sets and their same final set, I think Pipsqueak would be definitely favored there.
Yeah. He talks a lot about that in depth as well, like Pipsqueak against Fox. When he talks about how he does versus Ice, and do you watch that video where he does like a long talk with Sora or Josh Man?
No, but I've talked to Pipsqueak in person about the Fox, and I know how confident he is. I've also seen how good he is. I mean, he farmed Ice for a long time, and he's farmed Prof for a long time now. It's he's looking like the Fox that Leffen should be worried about. The one that Leffen should be the most worried about for sure.
Yeah, it would be sick if he put a dent in Leffen. But yeah, if anyone wants to hear about that more in depth, then he has that video on his channel where he speaks to Sora, but goes in depth a lot about that. But yeah, aside from that, I don't know. Is there anyone else who had like, I guess Luan went Game 5 with Kinzo, but he managed to close it out.
Luan definitely had a good on net play but very new run, where he like it felt like a what if situation where I feel like Luan is definitely, he got good so fast, but that also means his like major mentality is gonna be a little bit weaker than like the more seasoned players. But he did fine. Losing to Raul and Kinzo, I mean, we can blame him. That's two very good, very good players to lose to. And I can see myself losing that path as well. But one player I should note, by the way, now we're gonna roll back the tape from something I talked about. The practice,
If I can remember.
the practice with Renzo, where I told all of those tips to FalNL about how to beat Renzo, and then go back to the bracket. FalNL takes out Renzo 3-1, like very dominant 3-1 after having lost so many times. So having basically his demon in Renzo and being able to overcome him was really cool to see. I was really happy for Fout's sake. Super unfortunate for Renzo though, because he falls down to losers bracket, has to play PT or Pate as he's now called, another Dutch player.
Yeah,
he wins versus
he got
Pate.
Dutchy off the Dutchy. Yeah,
he had to play versus Skullbro and lost versus Skullbro. So he lost basically. He basically played at at a Dutch tournament, Dutch weekly, and lost.
Yeah, I guess his bracket was pretty much like, yeah, it was really Dutch.
Yeah, and
I guess
Fal-
Slim Shady was the only person he
yeah,
played in bracket who wasn't. Actually, no, it probably is like his winners round one. He didn't play
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. The early matches were definitely non-Dutch, but
Yeah,
after that, Fountainhell definitely had a little bit of a difficult bracket, despite beating who is basically his in-region demon. He had the prof into Rix because Rix got upset. Super tough for Faut, but nonetheless, proud of him for that win by itself. Other notable runs, I mean, I guess Tommy N, as I mentioned previously, beating Verdant and Baxon. I mean, huge dubs. Very up and coming puff player. I think he's gonna be good fast. So yeah, that's a good run.
yeah, cool. I guess,
Yeah,
yeah, there's nothing more we can really talk about. We sort of expended all, right?
yeah.
HFLAN.
I think the most important parts I've talked about. It was amazing getting to meet everyone at HFLAN. I was so happy. It was a great tournament in general. I talked about a few of its flaws, but there was a lot more positives. I mentioned the great playing area. The streams were both great. I loved the mainstream setup. Especially, I sat at the what's it called? Like the seating. It was basically like a
Oh, like the sort of like theater seating, right?
yeah, like a theater. Yeah, exactly. That's the word. So I sat. I was very comfortable sitting there. I sat there together with Sleepy Max a few times.
Yeah,
I had a lot of
I've
fun.
seen some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also they had free hot dogs, which was great.
Yeah, I remember
And
this. Yeah.
if you bought like a mug, which I have by the way.
Oh, for real?
Uh,
Oh yeah, the
this one.
HFLAN themed cup. Yeah.
If you bought this one, you got free drinks or like a free soda
Oh, nice.
/ water / juice for the entire weekend that they just like put there.
Nice.
So
Okay.
I used and abused that for sure. It was great.
Like,
But yeah, shout outs to the fucking tournament organizers, Paris Smash Gang and the French Melee and Ridley and Kafka and you know the whole gang. It was a perfect
all the
tournament.
volunteers and
Phoenix
everything, right?
Smash. Shout outs to Phoenix
Yeah, of
Smash.
course.
The best.
Chase and Megan.
Yeah, the best streaming
Yeah,
on the
streamers.
UK.
Yeah.
Let's go.
To be honest, what's Lever been doing all these? I haven't heard a lot from Lever. I've only been hearing Phoenix Smash and Chase and Megan.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe
I
it's been
think
stuck in Germany.
I think
But yeah.
I think we'll just have to wait and see.
Have to wait and see, of
knows?
course. Yeah.
Regardless,
But,
I think that's about it for HFLAN. This has been 2 hours and 40 minutes of HFLAN, but I mean, it's a lot of content. So
Yeah, a lot of things to talk about.
most
Well, I don't know. Yeah, go on.
most of it being my bracket run, by the way. But you know, that's value too. That's content too. So
100%. 100%.
yeah.
What was I gonna say? I guess where do you want to go to next? We could just run through a lot of the mini UK stuff that happened.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a few things. Number one, there are a lot of anniversaries. So DJ PJ, he tweeted about this. There was LLL 200, but at the same time, there was also the 100th Oxford Weekly, as well as like the 100th Berlin Weekly, I think,
What
as
the
well.
fuck?
So yeah, it's really all in the same week. So you know, a lot of anniversaries happening across Europe.
Yeah.
But yeah. So in at Quartered, which was like the latest bigger UK tournament. Traditionally, as I was saying in the beginning of the podcast, UK monthly, but became a sort of attract a lot of talent because there's barely any tournaments around for anyone to play at. Prof won pretty convincingly.
Lil Chief had a good run, a very good run.
Yeah, Lil Chief's run was sort of standout. I think Max was going secondaries. And Bomboni, he really showed his sort of dominance by getting second, beating Mordo, Kidder, for second place.
Yeah. By the way,
yeah, Lil Chief had an absolute dream run. I think he was the first person I heard to beat Gigi from the north. So
No,
Lil Chief
that's
and Gigi are both northern players.
I think that's
I think they're both from the northwest as well. But yeah, what were you
I,
gonna say, Shop? Sorry.
I think that's a little bit of a meme stat or something. It's like the northern player who not online, and it's like not one another person, and it's like
Wait, was it not online? I
there's
thought
something like that. I'm sorry to GG if I'm misinterpreting it, but I
no,
remember
I
thinking
don't
that's a
think
little bit silly.
I don't think GG's lost to a northern person online shop, which is sort of like I feel like the north, they are sort of, it might sound like a meme chat, but it is sort of like a legit thing because they are sort of like their own community, like that. It would be sort of something similar to saying like
Losing to an
I mean,
MDVA player?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Well,
I mean, I was gonna try and do a UK comparison, but
no.
Prof is so far ahead in London,
Yeah.
and Frenzy is so far ahead in the like southwest. So it's
Yeah.
really hard to say. And but
Anyway,
yeah, it's pretty much that from the same region. They're both from the northwest as well. G from Liverpool and Gigi from Manchester, or at least used to be. They've moved down to Reading now, I think. But yeah, the first person to beat Gigi from the north since Stranger SA in 2018, I think,
Jesus.
or something like this. So Gigi had a long streak on the north and was pretty much #1 North player for a long time. They even had like their own regional PR, and I don't think Gigi was ranked below first on that for a while, even though they were sort of challenged by Gymshark a bit. But Gymshark's sort of missing in action currently, and has left to Liverpool. He's moved back to Bristol, which is where he came from. So yeah, Lord Chief loses round 1, beating Gigi. Game 5, another Game 5 set versus Zeppel, another Game 5 set versus 23, beating all of them before being snuffed out by Mordo in another Game 5 set.
I reversed
So
3-0
yeah,
too.
crazy. Yeah, was it reverse 3
It
versus?
was. It was. I'm 100% sure Mordo reversed 3-0.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's sick.
Little Chief
That's
went.
actually nuts.
Little Chief went FOD 2 times. Another notable thing
Oh
about
yeah, I remember this.
the the GG set was that GG actually got first in their pool. GG beat Bomboni and beat Zeppel.
Oh
Zeppel
yeah.
beating Bomboni. So Bomboni got 3rd seed in his pool.
What?
GG got
Yeah,
1st
you're
seed.
right.
Zeppel got 2nd. And then Bomboni goes on to win the tournament and GG gets 9th.
Yeah, I missed this detail. It's actually
Losing,
good that you pointed it out.
yeah, losing to Mordo and Lil Chief. So that's actually pretty wild that Bomboni ended
Yeah,
up winning
I
the
remember.
tournament.
I
Or
remember
not
watching
winning,
the
getting 2nd. Basically
yeah,
winning
yeah.
when you consider
Winning
that
in terms
Prof
of
is
UK standards.
unbeatable.
Yeah.
Prof
Um,
is basically when I get 2nd to Pipsqueak at a weekly, I basically won. In
yeah.
my opinion. You know.
No, it makes sense. But what was I saying? I remember watching because GG Bomboni was on stream, but I didn't realize that Zeppel also won against Bomboni. So
Yeah.
that's a really good win for him.
Yeah.
Like he's sort of, and again being kidder and losers as well is sort of like, you know, he's one of those he's been doing his coaching. He was pretty solid before like online, but he's been doing his coaching and he's sort of like he's one of those really into improvement players,
Yeah.
that the UK has. You might not have heard about because a lot of, there are the younger
I've
players
heard
that
about
sort of like,
Zeppel.
yeah. I mean, more so like around Europe, like people hear about, Max and or Kingu and to a lesser extent Jamie as well, right? And I guess Luan after HFLAN, but someone who might fly under the radar is Zeppel, and Zeppel's really been trying a lot recently.
Although I
And Screechu, of
definitely
course, is in chat right now, but yeah,
I definitely think Zeppel is below that tier of player, though. I think
100%,
Zeppel
yeah.
is like when you look at like the Mordo 23, that kind of range.
He's still below them, I think, pretty solidly.
I'd say it's
I think
close at least. Like them,
I
like
wouldn't
they
say so
aren't
sharp.
like I like Zeppel has been Mordo, and
No, he's definitely beaten them, but Mordo and 23 are the type of people who would, challenge for a UK, sorry, for a London weekly win, right?
that's
The
fair. Okay,
LLL
that's
winner,
fair.
the
That's
LLL
fair.
winning tier. But
That's fair.
Zeppel, I think he came close once to winning one over Tenko's shoes, maybe, but I don't think he's ever won Long Live London. And
That's
I don't
fair.
think you would really expect that from him. I think that would be quite a breakout result for him.
I just
So
in my head I group all of those players as like, if
yeah,
I would play
understandably.
against them, if I would play against them, I consider them all like the same difficulty essentially, which is not a
Okay, fair
knock
enough.
to any of them. It's just
Really, have you played 23 Sharp?
I've only played against Mordo out of all of those players.
Okay, fair enough.
The Mordo set was actually 2 years ago, 3 years almost. So,
Interesting.
and I did win,
So,
by the way. Let's go Sharp.
fair enough. Wait, what was this at? Was this offline?
Yeah, at Valhalla 2 in
Yeah,
losers
yeah.
brackets. Valhalla just
That's fair.
beaten Pure Evil, who beat Humpe at that event. So I was like, damn, this Falcons must be
Fair enough,
good.
sir.
And then
Yeah, I think he used to consider himself quite good against Peach back then as well. I can't. He's had like this. I think we mentioned it before. He has like this 23 and 0, 26 and 0, something like this record versus Silas.
damn.
Well, actually, no. I think Silas has taken like 2 or 3 sets or something like this.
But
So
it's definitely a trend
yeah,
of UK players considering themselves Peach slayers and then
yeah.
getting absolutely brutalized by a good Peach.
Wait, who else? Who else? Who else?
Like every Marth.
Oh, that's true.
If you
No,
have
I
ever
feel
seen
like
me versus the UK Marths, it's not pretty.
yeah.
Not to knock them, but it's like that's just like the general trend I see with UK
It
players
feels
thinking
like there's
that
a
they're
bit
like
of,
really good versus Peach, when in reality they're beating Yuo and Silas, which are good players, but they're definitely below like the Fault,
I
Noxa,
think
me tier, Lore Street,
I
and
think for one, at least, for one, a lot of the people that consider themselves Mars players are sort of like memia players. So like people like Tanky and Aiken. Like Aiken for
yeah,
the longest time, he said Mars Peach was like 100-0 matchup. There's no way
and
he's
then he
gonna
lost
lose
the
it.
Prop
But
speech.
oh yeah, he did.
He did lose
That
the
did
Prop
happen at
with
like
Daisy actually,
in a money match. Yeah, he's Daisy.
the
But I
crazy
think
match.
to be fair, I think I don't know what he's done. He also lost to Whittle, I remember. But I
Will is
think
the
Tanky at
goat.
least. Yeah, I think Tanky, he at least has a lost to win, a couple lost to wins maybe. I wouldn't be
That was
surprised if it was this
that was
case
GameCube
where Aiken
controller
was up.
lost, it doesn't count.
Wait, what's this? GameCube controller.
Doesn't
Yeah, I
count.
guess
Doesn't count.
everyone lost it looks like a bit of a monster. But yeah, no, I think yeah, when it comes to Mordo at least, N23, they're definitely a tier above Zeppel. So
That's
that's
fair.
he's
That's fair.
sort of like moving his way up now. And any other runs I'm seeing Western 3-0ing Tenkwitchus, which is sort of nuts when you can I remember I remember watching Tenkwitchus like really going on Western not too long ago.
Yeah.
Um
And can we talk about the Fisher?
oh, this guy.
Yeah.
He sort of like busted out. He was playing his secondaries though, right?
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing.
So
Um
Max, aka Frank the Fisher, once again, coming back from his top 8 performance at HFLAN, decides
what a
to
contrast.
get fucking wasted before the tournament. I think him and GG were doing some shady drinking, or I don't know if they did it together, but they were supposed to team and they did not team.
That was actually because Gigi just didn't show up on time.
Yeah, GG.
But
But yeah, Max was really really hungover. He had his glasses on, and he lost to Kidder with Fox and Pools in one of the worst sets I've ever seen. Kidder pummeled him like 5 times, and Max just refused to mash. It was the worst. I hated it. But Kidder won that 2-1 in pools. But Max won every other set in pools. Max proceeded to beat Lil Chief. I'm not sure what Max played. Either Marth
I
or
think he was
Fox.
playing secondaries as well.
Yeah, he
And
was
yeah,
playing secondaries. But it was...
I remember Little Chief. I was messaging Little Chief throughout that tournament to give him like this moral support because you remember when he went to losers versus Max's secondaries, he was not very happy at
No,
all.
yeah, I wrote to him.
And he thought,
I wrote to him as well.
yeah,
He was
he was
definitely
sort of like,
he was definitely very I suck mood, you know.
yeah, he was like, he seemed mentally completely out of it, and like you would have never expected him to turn it around. So I feel like he at least definitely learned a lesson about staying in it mentally.
Yeah.
So because
Anyway,
that was really a big reversal for him. But yeah,
After that, Max actually had a decently close set with Prof with the Marth, but I'm doubting the fact that that Prof took it seriously.
oh yeah,
But
it was a 3-0.
Prof was
But
like
I remember some really close games.
game one was extremely close. Like Prof was at like
Yeah.
120% last stock. But then
I remember.
Max proceeds to lose to Weston for 9th place, which, I mean, the thing is, Max can do well with the secondaries, but he was not in the state of mind. I remember that I wrote that I thought that Max secondaries, even after losing to Prof, I was like, I still think Max can get second at this tournament, and then he proceeds to get 9th immediately.
9th, well,
which
reality snaps in, but yeah.
10 quid shoes and Silas had a good set too.
Oh yeah,
they had a
10
very
quid
close
sort of
set.
reversed it on him.
Yeah. Wait, was that in pool? Did they play in pools as well?
Oh no, yeah, I think they did play a pool set, didn't they?
They played in pools. It was 2-1, really close, and then they played in bracket in losers immediately, and then it was 3-2.
Yeah, so really close sets in general. Yeah, I think the pools one was the one that was streamed actually, so I was mistaken on that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess both of them must have been close, but I'm not sure if Tinker turned it around on Silas because it was really close in the like. Tankred Shoes basically made the comeback on Silas in that set. Yeah. So, yeah, it was exciting to watch at least. You can find those VODs on Phoenix Smash, along with the main stage ones of HFLAN. But yeah, aside from that, I don't think there's too many things. Kidder going Game 5 with Bomboni is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god, Prof
looking
won?
at the bracket right now. Whoa, what? Never heard about that happening.
Oh my god.
So crazy.
That's
insane. Yeah, we spoke about the Kidder, what's it called? The Kidder max set. Yeah. I think in general is quite unforgiving the pools of 4 pools, so I remember no pressure. He went really close with Weston because only top 3 make it out. Then the pools were a bit stacked, so he didn't make it into the final bracket. Yuo didn't make it into the final bracket, I don't think either.
Ooh, that's
if I'm not mistaken.
That's rough.
So yeah, Shayla as well. So yeah, it's only 4 pools, so it's sort of rough in that regard. But yeah, that's just a little UK inside baseball sort of look at it. So yeah, we can move on to. Do you want to look at? We might as well just have a look at Short Hop Pear. Yeah.
Yeah, it's by the way
Do you look at the pools, or do you just want to look at bracket shot?
We can look at the pools. We don't need to look at the bracket, I feel.
Oh, for real?
We're actually close to the 3-hour mark, which is
okay. Cool.
I think we should
we can skip
end
through
it
this,
off
I guess.
after this. Yeah, we'll skim it a little bit quickly, but this is basically what you have to look forward to on Sunday.
Sunday, yeah. Should be a Phoenix Smash stream for it as well.
It's a 49 attendee tournament, so it's pretty big. It's like like considering it's a post or like it's a quarantine or like a COVID life right now. It's considerable.
We got Omicron knocking about, so we'll see what that does. We'll see if Omicron kills our tournament scene again, but we'll see. Apparently people are saying it's not that bad compared to Delta or whatever, so we'll see what happens.
But it's never good to take those things at face value. You'll have to be careful regardless, and everything can shut down in any second, basically.
Yeah, we've been wearing our masks here now a lot more, so
that's good.
That's normally a first sign.
I wear my mask to locals. Everyone should wear their mask to locals.
Definitely, I think people probably wearing a Short Pear, but we'll see what happens. Either way, first pool, Frenzy is winning that pool.
Wait. It's gonna be too long if we talk about every pool, so I'll start
I think we can speed run them. Or you got something that you wanted to talk about in particular?
I thought we just like both take like you pick 2 pools and I pick 2 pools and we talk about those. Everything else up in the air. It's
gotcha.
6 pools, so we'll at least get to talk about 4 of them. So I'll start with picking one and we'll talk about that. So I guess we can start off with a pool that I thought looked fun, which is Pool B3, which is gonna be, I think, the most interesting match here, in my eyes, is well, first of all, we have the GG versus Bomboni rematch, which is gonna be pretty fun. But I think How versus GG is an interesting match. I actually think How could win that for sure.
Yeah.
Like How has been inactive for quite a while, but he recently like started showing up every now and then to locals. This is like the first. I think this is the first regional he's attended, and he's been GG before. He used to be the better player, right? How? He used to be like pretty high ranked in the UK.
His first post-pandemic tournament at all. And yeah, he always used to completely farm GG.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, GG always sort of had a bit of a Fox complex. And used to lose to No Pressure, who was sort of coached by Hal in that matchup a lot. So yeah. GG actually had a losing streak to No Pressure, and I think they sort of reversed it I think they played recently. It might not have been maybe it was actually quartered. I don't think it was. I don't think they were in the same pool. But either way, it was recently where they first won over No Pressure for the first time in a while. I think first time ever, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be interesting to see how How's like sort of
still got it,
rusted a lot, or yeah, if he still got it. So sort of see what happens. But yeah, I sort of agree that How could definitely take that.
I do know that Hal did lose to UO, but that was like back
Was this in the
one of the
Netplay
first
Weekly?
No, there was an offline tournament. I think it was like one of the first when like he started returning. But he's definitely, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like unrusting, and like I could see how winning this pool, but he'd have to play really well. And Bomboni has been on a hot streak. I mean the quartered performance, and like I think the Bomboni matches at HFLAN when he beat Silo in a game 5 and he like did well overall. I think Bomboni could get third and he can win this pool.
To be honest, I'd be surprised. I'd be quite surprised if Bomboni dropped the set to Hal, but I believe maybe because Ty's also been doing quite well versus Bomboni at the Brighton Weeklies, maybe I could see it from that angle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens. Do you have another pool you're interested about?
You can pick one now, so we can do a little.
I feel like it might be the one that you're probably interested in because
No. I'll pick another one if it's. I'm pretty flexible.
Cool. So the one I was interested in was the Mordo Lil Chief, No Pressure Naproxen pool. So that's like a spacey math pool. Ultimately, all of them will probably make it out because it is top 4 make it out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm assuming it will be quite a monster of a bracket from this 6 pools. But yeah. So Lil Chief has been doing like we were talking about earlier really well, especially versus Spaceys. Went to game 5 versus Mordo, and is probably looking to probably get that win on the board. But then again, Naproxen has to play Lil Chief in the Martito. Lil Chief looking much stronger in that matchup compared to Naproxen, who lost to Swish at Myth. But I'd say he definitely feels like he has a chance. No Pressure as well, I think, is a dark horse in that pool. He could, there's an outside chance that he could even get first place, I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been struggling a bit versus a lot of the higher end spacies like Western 23 Mordo at the weeklies. So he's been able to sort of push forward and beat those higher tier London players like Denkwood Shoes and Captain Nebula. So I would say that it's within his range. And I could say he's also been losing a lot to Lil Chief though, so it could be looking bleak for him when it comes to that matchup. But versus Mordo, I think he could take it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it's a good pull for Lil Chief. Lil Chief and Approxim have surprisingly faced off a ton of times. They played in France too, and they played.
Yeah. Do you know about their history as well? They played like a series of Pride matches, or not Pride matches. I feel like I sort of like to trademark Pride matches. I think, but no, it's sort of like they had a few money matches that were sort of big deals in the northern scene, like when they were both really small kids. So I mean, I say really small kids, but
Yeah,
like
I know what you
maybe
mean.
this is about 3 or 4 years ago, So that would
Yeah,
have been quite young.
I think
So
Lil Chief is very favored versus Naproxen, and
100%, I would say so as well.
pretty favored versus No Pressure, and I think
He's
Mordo's
beaten him.
favored.
I think he's not really afraid at all of No Pressure, and he's beaten him
Yeah,
like 2 or 3 times in the last times that they've played. And obviously, he's taken the win over 23 as well. So
yeah.
he's probably. I think he's said he was feeling like Fox is probably his strongest matchup. He said he was beating Growl in friendlies as well. He was taking
Friendlies
friendlies
don't
off
mean
Prof at
anything.
quarters.
Friendlies don't mean anything.
I remember he was really happy because he got a 3 stock on Raul in friendlies on stream, like at the Paris Weekly after
That's so
HFLAN.
stupid.
So he was really happy with.
I'm sorry, that's
I don't
really
know.
stupid.
I think you can take your wins
No,
and be happy about them.
no. If you
But
if you win a friendly versus fucking Mango, sure, brag about that. That's okay. Bragging
he
about a
wasn't
friendly
bragging. He
versus
wasn't bragging openly.
he
But
was
just.
bragging.
This
That's
must
a brag. If you
Fair
know
enough.
that Lil Chief took a 1 of 3 stock versus roll in a friendly, then that's a brag.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway,
But yeah,
I think Lil Chief has a chance of winning this pool. I think Mordo has the best chance. I do think that Lil Chief is gonna be hungry to get the rematch win on Mordo though.
100%. Yeah.
But I think
Best of 3 set as well. So, and Modo's been known to lose best of 3 sets to like almost anyone.
yeah,
Like,
Mordo is
so-
very upsettable.
Mhm.
But I think we can move on.
And he gets really upset when it happens, but that's a different story.
I guess
Not angry, like just sad though. But yeah,
I guess the pool that I will look at just for fan requests, I will look at UO's pool. It's not the most interesting pool. We do have, funnily enough, a player called Jamie, but it's not the Jamie, not the Puff Jamie.
actually, it's interesting because Libbers is there. Do you know about Libbers? Sharp.
Kind of, a little bit. I've definitely
He
heard about
notably,
him.
he notably got second at the UK Arcadian in 2018. With UK Arcadians are nuts. Like they end up always being like some of the biggest tournaments of the year.
Yeah,
I think
New
one
Waves.
UK Arcadian. There was New Waves, but there was also a series called Best of the Rest, which was the first Arcadian series. So he got second at Best of the Rest 2018. I think some New Waves actually were like some of the biggest European tournaments of the year when they happened. But yeah, it was a 100-man bracket. He came second. He played his Sheik versus Mordo in Grands because he hated the Fox Sheik matchup. I mean the Fox Falcon matchup. He's a Fox main traditionally. But yeah, because he's a Welsh player, he's used to completely dominate UO and just, sweep the floor with him every single time they played.
Yeah,
But obviously, UO has had this massive glow up since then. So
true.
he's seated above him, favored in that matchup. But it'll be interesting to see what Liver still has. So
Prof is not gonna lose any of the sets.
100%. Yeah.
There's like 1 in 1 million that he loses. Okay, that's
Yeah,
maybe a little
That's
bit.
pretty tiny. But yeah.
One in, I'd say like 1 in 10,000. No, wait, Weston's
I
pretty
think
good.
you can put any odds. No, yeah, I
but
guess.
If
Prof
Weston
did lose to. Who did he lose to that one time at Awakening? Do you remember?
if Weston
It was like
and-
a random German Falco that he lost to in pools. So maybe
if Weston
You
and
showed some
Prof
crack.
play 1,000 sets, I think Weston takes one. I think Weston takes
really.
one and 1,000 sets.
These are independent sets, right?
These are like, let's imagine that every time they like play a new one, it resets.
Yeah, they wipe their
Yeah.
memories of the
And
last
their
one.
energy.
Yeah.
I think, but I think
Maybe
Prof will
5,000.
win. I think UO can get second. Weston, I think Weston will get second. I think Weston's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. He's
Livers,
really
I
in
have no
form as
idea
well.
about.
Yeah, Livers. To be honest, Livers probably gets fourth.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if sort of the storyline there is that Livers and Newer used to play all the time, and Livers used to wipe the floor with him. And Livers was actually like a borderline PR player. He never really got there, but he was definitely one of those people that was aiming for there. Uo is probably around PR, right now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Um,
But
but
yeah,
yeah,
you pick.
is it my turn
You get the honors
now?
of picking the last pool we talk
The
about.
final pool you look at.
Yeah,
Oh my God, what are we going to talk about?
I think.
Is there anything that interesting to talk about?
Yeah,
I suppose the most notable one is probably the Screechu Omid pool, right?
let's look at that
But
one.
yeah, fair enough. Let's look at that. Um,
Um, Wills
so
is a
Screechu
player
Omid.
I've seen the name before. Isn't he like an Ultimate / Smash 4 player?
Yeah, Wills is actually one of the most old school people in UK, like full stop. So he's been playing since like maybe 10 years now.
That's crazy.
Um, and he was playing Falcon in Melee. He was playing Falcon in Brawl. He was playing Falcon in. I think he actually switched to Cloud in Smash 4. So, and then I don't know. He's playing in Ultimate nowadays. I think Steve maybe. I think he was really excited when Steve was announced. Um, but yeah, he became like the premier sort of, or one of the premier Ultimate TOs. So he ran Regen, which was one of the big EU tournaments um, for Ultimate, or at least UK-based EU tournaments. He was going to run a really big tournament called Invasion, which got cancelled because of
COVID?
coronavirus.
Yeah.
What other stuff? I think he helped out with Air a bit. He was on the Fate team as well. So he's like one of the big brains when it comes to European TOing, I would say. Or at least he's built up a lot of experience. And in the UK, he's probably like the most experienced TO that's come out of Melee, who is still active. Um,
But yeah,
if you look at just totally Melee, maybe point out like Omid or Chase. But yeah, in this pool though, I think he's probably relatively upsettable. Coral below him probably has a decent shot,
yeah.
but he's come back and done some things. I think Screechu might correct me, but he went to some Warwick tournaments. So Warwick is in the West Midlands, which is where Screechu is also from. So they might have played there. I think Screechu would have undoubtedly won those sets. And in the head-to-head between Screechu and Okamid, I think they played at Nang, and I think Screechu won that. I might be wrong, but
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Like Squeechu
I think
is
Screechu won that for fifth.
I can imagine Squeechu being good. Like he's very good at the floaty matchups, like Pikachu's in the floaty, but like the kind of the non-fast fall matchups, I would guess.
Yeah.
Or like you would call it like he's really good at versus Marth. He's really good versus Peach. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's like good versus Pikachu and like the Samus and strange like matchups like Yoshi and stuff like that. Because he's really he's a really fundamentally strong player, and I'm glad Squeechu got a first seed this time. Definitely long time coming. I think the UK players underestimated Squeechu. Famously on a previous episode of the SharpEngine podcast,
Indeed.
Squeechu was vastly underrated.
By quite a few people. Who was it? Tanky and Max are sort of underrating him.
Yeah.
But I think it's just one of those things where Screechu rarely had the opportunity to travel, despite the fact that he's been around for a long time.
But
Because he
real
was
ones
just
new.
so young. Yeah. What's that? Sorry?
Real ones knew. That
Real ones did know,
Squeechu got the sauce.
especially looking at him online. Yeah. Real ones knew. But yeah, it's sort of he's really establishing himself as a solidly, probably like around top 15 in UK, if not higher. So yeah, it's interesting to see how he'll do and put his mark on the rest of the bracket, because I don't think he's had the opportunity to play against, apart from Nang, like a more diverse set of players beyond like the big London heavy hitters. So we'll see how that sort of pans out for him. He's got Tony Bomboni in his bracket path, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah, so a lot of crazy things might happen. Ultimately, we're looking for another Prof Frenzy Grand Finals. We can see who ends up adding the win to their tally, because that's becoming quite important when it comes to the final PR placing, which is all up for grabs, still.
True.
After the really dominant myth. So it's becoming a title race in that way. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins this one. It's sort of sick, isn't it, when you have these things where you have these like at every level of competition in your scene, which is how it feels like in the UK. There's competition, there's like solid competition, and you have no idea what's going to happen when you
Yeah.
tune in at the next tournament and you can see something exciting happen.
No,
So
yeah.
it's really going to be exciting to see what happens on Sunday.
I feel like UK is probably the most try-hard EU melee scene right now. So it's like I know exactly what you mean. It feels like a lot of people are just like getting better, and just like there's a lot of rivalries, a lot of people like on the come up. So it's really cool to see. It's a little bit different in Sweden. We have a few really hard grinders, me and Pipsqueak and Meaty notably, as well as like Abby Arv and a few others. But yeah, like the UK culture has like a fucking sea of players who could just potentially be amazing.
It seems like this because we just get randomly blessed with these things. Like that used to never be the case in the UK before, you know?
Yeah.
Before, like really recently, UK was just sort of one of these sleeping regions that didn't really produce a lot of solid talent beyond Prof, VA and Fuzzy for like 10 years, and they never got touched for all of that time, you know? Then Mint starts popping up a few years later. You have Frenzy, Sechi, you know, and then now we have the next wave with Max, Kingu, and you know, a lot of other players
Tino,
below them.
Bomboni,
So Tino, of course, Bomboni not all the way up there, but he's sort of proving himself now, you know.
He's gonna get there. He's gonna
get there. It's Star now, who we sort of stole from Greece, you know. But yeah, it's really interesting to see what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And we are sort of lucky, UK, I think, because yeah, as I'm saying, we never used to be like this, so we're in a really, really good position, I'd say now.
Yeah.
I'm hesitant to say the most grinding region because that's ultimately I like people might be trying their most to, I don't know, do whatever in their life. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're definitely right in that, in your summation there, Sharp. So
yeah,
it's really gonna be really exciting to see what happens. Is there anything else?
No,
I don't know.
I was gonna say that we have to kind of wrap it up here. It's
fair enough.
3 a.m. where I am, so I'm pretty tired. But it's been a long episode, but that's I think every episode we've had has been long. It's just this is probably the longest one. It's been a lot of fun though. Thank you everyone for sticking by. I know the chat isn't as popping. We do have UO. But like
thanks for staying around here.
A lot of people went to bed, but we did have quite a few people listening in earlier, so that's very much appreciated. And we're planning on doing one more episode at least until the year ends, so look forward to that. But otherwise, I guess just check out Short Hop Pear on Sunday. And just to end it off, I'm gonna shout out my social media. It's down here, there at SharpSSBM, and we have at JMooncake for SwarmEngine, so you can check him out too.
I did a meme TikTok you can look out for. You can check out.
It's pretty good.
So
check us out.
Did it surprise you, Sharp? Did it do its intended
surprised me a little bit.
Okay, fair enough.
It's very funny, but
thank you.
Regardless, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for, if you tuned in for 1 second, we appreciate that regardless. And Sharp and SwarmEngine, we're gonna be signing off. Goodbye, everyone. Good night.
See you guys in a bit. Subscribe to YouTube.
Subscribe to Hungry Box.
Follow on Spotify.
That too.
Subscribe to the RSS feed if you want to. We'll get the podcast whatever way you want. Maybe Apple Podcasts one day. But yeah, bye.